Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Good day. I'm saying good afternoon to each and every one of you. I'm not sure which part of the world you are, but we say hello from Binto Media Network. We are back again. Today is Sunday. I'm always grateful to be here. Today is another special day. If you can hear me, let me know. Today we are going down in detail. Did you see that sign? Your vote, your voice. The decision is yours, December 4th. It means a lot. To you, to me, our children, our grandchildren. It means a lot. If you can get to the poll or vote, if you can take an elderly person with you, help them out. Let them vote. Our voice is very important. Vote for the right candidate. We are ready. We are not doing this politics anymore. Right person, 45 years, and we are good to go. Your vote, your voice. Nkana kachala. Abe kumala be back. Hinna sobe time talent. Nobody will soto jande londi tiyo. Inatale ba kachala. Mafo waliol lende. Nkoy be la katole kela. Alkalu muso yalo no mang wamankara. But one thing ngalo, nsitan na karte failo. Moten tula ko. So, baleten tula mbaje alijayila. Be min kasala bi wala be kala debate min keta kuno. Honorable Halifa Sallah and Mr. Esambay Fall. Yela policy landing yele tabulo kam. Yakani angale kangol. Ntol ma understand. Ngawolon. So mbakala bi local language leti. Mbelun tangol welcome la koteke. Nali santo jibe jana. My special Karoninka brother Hayden Jana. Nko na lawyer Sarjo Barrow. Nga fa na Karoninka brother. Ate ala no muna nko fa free service. Thank you, brother. You are welcome once again. Aliena ate wa jana jibe e ga fa nyin nen fangola Dabakh Malick. Nko imanyo soto. Oh boy. Aka londi tiolem. Kukilimba nyini nga ya mune kanjel lo moy. Ako nyanga nyini na moy. Nga enda fanan sen na kilo ngalaje. So we are moving on. Kodo kay fela duma jan. Ali ajibe. Yo, kunalu mamis. Yo, Gibril Fadia lam. Ke ba kende. Ninga kumandi wata nimborola kala hajolo tujay nana ngai kacha. Ako nyamal londi sodo. Bara politiki ndi mimbe Gambia. Mfanan sen na contribution okay. And you are welcome. Malbeten to Lombali Jail. Nagesto Binala Labin join the Lamin Dibba. Right here. Yo, Lamin Fanam Fele. Lamin Fele, but Lamin.
Yeah.
Brother, you are welcome. Lamin Fanam Fele by introduce Lali. Nkai Dibba. Nkai near time so they buntanda. Afonye Sahani Baliawa. So Mbalten to Lombali Jaila. Lamin la first time la hopefully nja famala. Okay? Yo, alimbe mo beten to la jalia baraka. Jalila donc la be yamar kendera mbal tentu la mbali je ila be jal stuff la janne. Brother sol mbal tilinyan. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Yo.
Alaikum salam.
Yo, first of all, mbe Lamin Dibba follow kontona, atela mo follow me atela follow la nyint. Akay atela follow la nyint. Mbe welcome la Binto Media Network. Ngeten tungeje yela hajo mimbe tuje pour kana kan joy. Bi nga kacha kumari mbala soto min kata Gambia la court. Ndol fanko nyadi decision making. Mba follow ni mole nyo konton follow bismillah.
Abaraka bake Binto. Akadanya kontana ku balti bi ka kafale majang na brother sol fana mbal be kontona Mr. Barrow, Mr. Malick and Mr. Fadia ngal be konton and be audience sol fana be kontona Binto bantaba audience sol albadi malamu ko Binto afale nyam Lamin Dibba. Thank you.
All right. koto ke Fadia fanam bismillah.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Ngal be kontom. Mr. Dibba, mbafo la kana ite binto mashallah la programo munyon taonti. And then I see Sarjo Barrow here at he's ready. Microphone ba kungokono. So okay, he's ready to get everything he needs. Dabakh Malick fana nga konto nga tentu nga jay. You know, so that's what it is. Ngambe audio no fana be konto na lama la menoka. Linko financial and everything to make sure kajeko kolbe jinkan nang afoduma. Mashallah.
Okay. Dabakh, please.
Yeah. Comme jali afo nyamin don to fana be gambe dingol be konton na momo be dawda try la ko da kono na upload dile na fellow panelisol fana mbabe fule assalamu alaikum nga jikita ko fana be ko min fala jang avec la ko leti mi alam ko be gambe be la na fala andu nga ku fa jam fami alam ko fana ngani ay silole bula ya lon ko hada madina jon na futa bali alam bari amanken na sawati pour ka ku fa jam mi alam ko be mo dinila.
Bismillah. Barrow.
Okay, baraka bintu. Bismillah. And then kontanta yamul murundi na jankoteng. Amanke londolat ne mul natina original wala binata. I think bottom line is kachalendro and then be fellow panelists all fanambe salamala. Then pronsi kacha na banko la kolendro hakilol tekino la kalenti bara ansi kameno la komi kodol sikeno hormone bunyane sutro konole pour banko bitanya to nyame.
Okay, first of all, jani meduna kacha kono lafta na opinion of about minketa kuno. First of all, Gambia ntol political lafta falindomande. Walem foloton tol ka boru baba jawarol normale NCP na baba sirfu di balamat ala jang sone yala. Nimbama ol tate be mitindula ntol ka tara benywarol ko wato oboli bari ka wolle londi ka benda chino porochin ka wala dom. But aside lafita kuole falin domandi. Walem na party leaders wol mini alon koy benna banko nyini kam. Puri kana ini mol kana ika kacha policy. Itolle ba decide la anin debate committee wala ba decide la be mun kanja male fol. But kunu yake angale kangolla. First of all mbenna tentroni jairo binto media network. Mba sindila honorable Halifa Salala. Keba kende abuka ngoma aside. Mbenna yeah. Mena tentroja iro fanan sambala funding ke min fanan fintitana lately min keta nyino mala first time dol sa fono nyino bakala first time puruka katara ballot box to min keta honorable Esa Mr. Esa Mbaifa nga tentu nga jay ya kachaka kunun akacha kumaya nga jela ko politiko abe falinkan ntolum na kuolum ntolum manke mo tariyar ngol ntol na sita koma domande ara domandoma baby step mbole kekan mbe futala where we need to go so mbe tentro sindilela ila patio bela ani Gambian ol bela so Sarjo Barrow lafta lonnale ite birite nyinjibe minekete la miroti minekete la total viewti nyin debate la court
Mbafalang, at least I was very happy. Yeah, contentale, and then I think debate it's a good step. And then nga kujamale current debate nyinto niatara amanke debate komi individually Gambia politiko kata nyame hanim patio me alanko imal lafeka politiko ke komi nkake nu nyame ni tata banta balto ni meke ku demanding hadama dingol lamfo kama ibe result la back to the same kind of politics le janni be diamala isul la hani lafta wala fankela because traditionally ni tata sado alka diamala le sotoje wala diamo ka nyameng aka meeting na agenda nyen sunya la famol bakana police fam kachano so but at least debate mol mako wata andum flanjang me content police ka safe kaito balale on papers e kaje ni ye fengo safe ya fono mole o ka itandele ko ya fahamole fanam amanke dro ya safele so debate fana ye kuja mala bondi wota me ya lonko ngo understand anin tengla miralo ko mi ngaje safere nyameng anin amari fangena ko nyine mun na fenkode akati na la fayda fanke fanje demande ka fa oh ntenga mera nyine mbariara atabe nyine la so woyol bondi nye nyotole so I think debate yo nati na ne me ya lonko kontanta wala bake yaje so mbo tentro di la mola mele debate organize and everything
okay Daba
Yeah, come na brother Sarjo ya fanya ndong. I was really happy yesterday because muna tinang content wala mu nde nga commencé la Gambia political norma 1992. Kabri 1992 for sign time. Politic si farming kake wala mu politician ole na mole na kafunyo kan na si dia mole fo na le vote menyi nakala wala sometimes they even go personal ibe nyo kajafila ibe kuma dol fola nyo mi alon ko manka horma kuti bari comme kunu nga dibeto ni jamen ku fula o ku saba wala en content bi force wala mu minul ye debate ni organize wala mu dindi wala you understand so it only ni organization on create so what that means ko wala mu ko ndolla sama woto jiko be jela because ni dindi ngol tata fo sa itol fana ya long minemi la nyantoti banku do ko kama e wulta pour ka nyum ko ke ngamira Gambian sol be la nyante block ko sile ngay support tout ngaje nde comme nde mu Gambian wal nyanta tala pour kata carte fay andu nde be carte fay la momi yalan ko ay place min aka place min nyini I won't respect la ya horno and yajen ka for ma I'm not saying those people who did not come they did not respect the office they are looking for but ngamire la commitment at the city so because if you look at all those two candidates on me along wala nata je kunum kadibe ibebe nun santolto they were around Basse but they have to leave everything that they were doing yesterday to come down to the combos to do the debate so woyemil tandi wala mu they don't only write a document pour ka foko Gambian sol ko nale carte fanya menye nakala because yalam to write a document is very easy it's a consultant stan wala ya jo kodola e sense affair but ite mi yalam ko itela mu nyatan koti itela nyanta wo implementation on lead la nita ma wo implement nita ma wo document no karang ya ke comme like itati abe difficult la pour ite na lo ka farmansa mole pour ya faham and kunung it gave me the opportunity nga nyimo flol jube nge lamoy because I've read their manifesto ila program on ngari because most of these parties that are standing me along ko ye la manifesto ke in public nga download it in my laptop and I took my time to read all of them so kunung nga jile some of the things that they wrote explain nyamin ko ni tol nata ba kala nyam and the third one wala mu it gives Gambians the opportunity pour ya long because ya long comme ça jey info most of the language they use probably interpret la nyamin as a keno is not the same meaning that the party or the candidate has so kunung ya formansa mol kan mol yele so nga ku jama faham nga ku jama understand but the main important wala mu ko Gambia la political be evolve kan and ngamira this is a starting point and I hope next time other candidates also will take this opportunity and in Gambia dingole diam and I think maybe nimbe lua bukuto safela as a keno fong ngake I can mandate that every candidate will come and stand maybe at least ninga 3 debates or one organized by the University of the Gambia one organized by maybe the Gambia journalists Gambia Press Union and another one maybe by the civil society so ngamira wo fanang abe mol ma ko la back because kunu now ya wato min di ngaje ko like some of the questions the time frame pour answering was too short for me
especially the follow of 45 oh no don't stop it
so ngamira wato nyim fanan be atale it did not give the opportunity for the candidates to express themselves the way they wanted to but overall I think it was a positive thing and we hope to see more of this maybe in the subsequent local government and National Assembly elections some of these things will continue
okay Dibba ite mina mira kunung debate nyinto aning ite amira Dabakh ye nyimi suggest ko maybe nyaton sa ken na luwa bukol to pour nyin candidate wol ka fintina o wasa keno
abaraka bake ndela jeroto debate nyinto nga fem fulal soto je nga kontano soto je le bake fang bari nga fem fanan soto je mem mankita kontano do manding kontane dakira menti wala nyinti nyine sinya foloto na banko la tariko kono nga candidate so many along ko they are vying for the presidency yebeng kanyo seyake ila miral nyalla ito la miral lo mun banko tamand la nyaadi ning ayatuma banko dingol banko karafe o mu yirwa ku balte because konka moy mo la nyamen ko democracy is a marketplace of ideas but nimmol buga ben kila ideas all exchange marché tamala de bayri marché fo firi lal ne sendir lal ci ben yoka so kunu debate yo banta bala create na kontano la manko keda damente wala nyinti ko candidate ol be mabe nan kana debate nyinto ngamera ko bekel nun Gambia e nyato ta balate nun kunu nen ayatuma nun ko candidate ol be soto nun je e be na ke la miralo landi Gambia dingol nyato ani da mali nyose ala moderator faram be nyinen kala ke jakandi ite men fo ko ba kele nyaadi ni yabo Gambia dingol nyoto obe silodi la Gambia dingol la prunga kilin na la programme ol jibeno e la policy solo if ngamo e fangola bari man ngol ko chokoro ka dia wolo fangol da kon obe kelnu nafa balti non kuno bari o mankina ji bari wo be nyaado tale because kunun tariko la keda I think askeno it men man na kilin na be nimisala lale because they all had the opportunity to be part of that great history. Daba mem fo comment ka foko ka debate ke hanna I agree with that. You know, obe bete ala bakele but hanna ayat mo loi kuto mande da ngamera IEC through the Act of Parliament is already there. Namiro, I'm not sure. Probably Brother Sarjo is an attorney. He can help us there. But Namiro to IEC already a legal mandate certainly. Purko wo mandate siva create. Come you don't create nyameng your condition like every political party has to have a bureau in every region, and then they all have to organize a congress every 2 years at least. So that they all have to at least every candidate has to participate in at least 1 or 2 debates for every election cycle. I think that's possible, but probably Brother Sarjo can help us with that more.
Okay. Fadia, go ahead.
Yeah, Abaraka Bake, thank you very much. Come here, I mean, I don't have to repeat it all you meant for, but just to emphasize, you meant for it makes sense. Kafoko, Sako Lamin, you meant for things sign. Mr. Dibba, Kafoko, it has to be part of the rules. Rules or men make, or even to make it a law. The reason why you have to go to convention but on Congress for every 2 years, therefore to explain your ideology and your policy, what you're gonna do for the country. Is a historic yesterday. Yeah, killing on the last 2017 Taliban Sudan Mol Kabiribe Lokang as a mayor. Kelenu with Salu, Mr. Tal, Fafandin Tal. So that was good. So presidential candidate Olfana policy for is good. But in Tayman Suteje after that, there was 2 systems. Base market system, that is capitalist system ideology, and then socialist democratic ideology. So wo full Lebanon J Kunung. So I would if they make it broad, then President the candidates you can run for, they will understand what kind of system they are running under. They are maybe sometimes candidate also they don't even know what ideology they are following. And then this gonna help us and help people to understand. And then at the end of all this, I don't want to take a side, but I think it's going to be more favorable to PDOIS that had their ideology in line and following their guidelines over the years. But it's very encouraging for our young generation.
Barrow, carte fayol fele kana. It's not just presidential. Deputy Karte Fao Canal next year. Ite amra nyins mose okeno IEC isa keno ila acting in konoma. In debate.
It's possible, yes and no question, because IEC, in as much as constitutional power the National Assembly to enact legislation, IEC some part of National Assembly some part of legislative authority delegated to the commission for a rule making. In essence, it's like administrative laws or administrative rules. Now, whether IEC is up to tax code, that's a question left to the commission. But it's plausible coming under the laws, delegated power to enact rules, just like coming manifesto certain others. The flaw is the constitution. It's a general way Duma. But they could add things merely along it will not unreasonably, encumber candidates in la franchise to run. So vigile. National Assembly by itself could also do it too. If the will is there or they believe respective constituents allow to enact such legislations, is okay. So that actually it's possible in Gambia wanted to move forward or forge in the direction of debates.
Okay. Do ya for a debate in English does not make sense. But ngamere is a debate keno. Let's assume that you three on the IEC actor. You got three. They can do two in local language and one in English. Sometimes new words they are not easy. But mbal tend to lambali jaila the media community here. So we will go into two of those policies. Mbe apelele na gesoli la moy ya breaking it down. We will talk about the healthcare system owning a policy about that. Then education, then we break it down. Okay. So Alin, so 1 second. We start with that.
The electorate yearn for is one that is reliable, accessible, timely, and affordable. We want to know, under a government led by you, what you would do to institute strategies that would replace or enhance the current health system in a manner that would cover every Gambian in a more comprehensive and integrated manner.
The health sector in this country is practically dead or non-existent. What we have of hospitals are, in fact, hospices where people go to die. And this must change. Women die because there are no gloves. Women die because there's no blood. Women die because power failure. Women die because there are no doctors. Women die because there are no medicine. Growing up, Senegal used to come here for medical help. Now it's the reverse. We have to change that. In order to change that, we have to have massive investment in the health sector. And the investment has to be in the infrastructure, in the personnel, and the healthcare givers. All three segments, we need massive investments in it. I will make sure that we revamp the health sector in several ways. And we can get the money if we are serious about it. You see, there is so much pork that the government is dishing out on a daily basis. $2.5 billion is going on duty-free. They're not going to the poor person in Dingirai or to the village market in Mansajang. They are going to well-able Gambians who are rich. We have to cut that and invest that money into the healthcare sector. The insurance that we have is not an insurance that covers the people. We should have a national health insurance system that covers everybody.
All right, we are staying with that. Mr. Sala, I'll come back to you. It's a follow-up. You have 45 seconds to answer this, Mr. Fa. We are still interested in how you would implement this, how you would revamp the health sector of the country, some of the strategies you would implement to the latter.
It's all a function of good leadership, proper management, and resources. The resources are there. Even if you cut all the waste that is going on in government, you would have a lot of money that could be put on this. In fact, we have 2.2 billion that is going to subsidize institutions that exist only to pay salaries to themselves. And if we cut all those things, $5 billion would be available. You cut the money going to president's office by $500 million. You have $5-point-something billion available that could help to fund some of these programs, including the health sector. And with insurance, more money would be available. So this is doable.
All right, Mr. Salah, thank you so much. Over now to you. Mr. Fall, I beg your pardon. Over now to you, Mr. Salah. And then under a Doyle-led government, we want to know what strategies you would institute that would replace or enhance the current healthcare system, one that would cover everyone comprehensively in an integrated manner, and one that would ensure reliable, accessible, affordable, and timely healthcare service delivery in the country.
Well, health has 4 components: preventive, curative, rehabilitative, and restorative. You see people suffer burns. You need to help them restore their skin. Its absence in the Gambia. We'll ensure that that happens. Accidents, we'll ensure that that happens. That's a principal target. You look at rehabilitative, you see people not having wheelchairs, not having mobility aids, completely abandoned. They cannot even do their work. So we will ensure that there is a proper rehabilitation facilities to be able to facilitate those people, accompanying them to be restored to proper health. You have the curative dimension. We are saying it should be community centered. There should be a primary stage, a secondary stage, and tertiary stage. Primary stage involves the village. We should ensure that the villages themselves are trained to be proper bath attendants, and to look at certain basic things like diabetes, etc. You'll be able to test it and save lives very quickly. But then at the village level, you can move to the district level where you have a major health center or a district hospital that will be treating other issues, and we'll staff the place with the appropriate doctors and nurses to be able to render services. We also have the regional hospitals, which will be referral hospitals. That's how we intend to structure the health system.
All right, Mr. Salah, I'm staying with you. It's a follow-up question. You have 45 seconds still to answer this. We want to look at the issue of affordable healthcare service in the country and that of accessible healthcare service in the country. We want you to help us understand how a Doyle-led government would deal with the situation.
The educational system in the schools should identify the major health problems in the country and educate our young people to exercise to prevent those things that are preventable in terms of the health and illnesses that we suffer today. We will also introduce the concept of the community participating in at least dealing with its little health problems by ensuring that the community will be able to identify the illnesses that appear within a year to the epidemiological units to know which illnesses appear in a village, in a district, in a region. Therefore, the drugs that will be bought will be, the priority will be given to those drugs.
Mr. Salah, thank you so much. Over.
Okay. Dabakh.
Yes.
You heard Yamoyle, they lay out their policies. Let's try to lay it out in local so many people can understand, because that was heavy English. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. And then
healthcare plans.
Yeah, healthcare. Yalan demeta pour ka ofale. Yalan Gambia healthcare problem o minti. Up to today, not government or political parties about diagnose can properly. Gambia is, if not the only country, but it's one of the cheapest countries within the sub-region. You see $25 you see a doctor, yet outpatient and collect medications. You understand? So you borrow be coming and in the salaries of all these doctors and the equipments that you need to do this test, they are very expensive. So $25 alone, near Dayale, it cannot even maintain the operating cost of the hospital. So it's difficult for the necessary investment to make investment at the right time. So Gambia forced to take the kacha nyanta kala dami walam na healthcare policy nyanta review. If we want to progress, because two things, they are not cheap. And that is education and in healthcare. I agree government should come up with a policy and subsidize the hospitals. But can government really do the necessary investment? They still continue charging $25 because before it was $5.
But
now
these two policies, national health insurance sort of for every Gambian. And in Honorable Sala Wolko, they want the 3 levels, which is the all the way to the tertiary. So it is two policy.
No, national insurance policy is a good idea, but is it doable in Gambia? Because Gambia insurance industry because people pay, but not rated at a claim to make claims it's always a problem for it or claim for receive. That's one. 2, some of the institutions in Gambia, like some of the companies or government institutions in Gambia, they already have health insurance incorporated within their policies. So they deduct it from stars, but sometimes you get sick or your family member gets sick and they go to these hospitals. The insurance company is not paying us. So which means the insurance companies are collecting these monies from employees, but they are not paying the hospitals. So even though you have an insurance card, you are sick, you go to the hospital, for you to pay out of your pocket and then go back to the insurance company or go back to your workplace to lodge a complaint with regards to that. So maybe both of them, if it is doable, they have because the program intention but they did not go deep to explain to us about Kela Nyaming and the Kodo Yimfon the Boladami. Because that's my issue.
Okay.
Gambia program
play a little bit.
Exactly. So I think the insurance policy, the health insurance could be a good idea. But I have Kela Nyadi. Okay, Halifa Fanayem for Fanang. I agree to that. Because some of these communities, they are far away from referral hospitals. I think they need health posts within those environments so that they can be closer to at least a nurse. You understand? And we have some of these traditional birth attendants, they are not qualified nurses or medical personnel, but at least the health ministry can train me with the modern health techniques, but also they link it to our tradition. Come like Ikamuso supervise nya, Musu Konamaka supervise nya dile, and yenta domorol mintala, and yenta call minkela, every month. So ibajela from nabe delivery kelafang before a lot of these women deliver at home and you got complications sort of. But also you can understand technology is advancing and in sasa dolle nata mialanko nunto aman sort of. You understand? So with that, a lot of complications solved for Natila, and also the kind of food that people used to eat 30 years ago is not the same kind of food people are eating today. So ibajela wolfanan the art is aka problem jamala di na mol sign. So we need to have a conversation. It's good that we progress as a society, but also the kind of food that we allow to be imported in our country. So I think both of them is something that is good, but the question is how are we going to achieve that? And
okay. Fadia ntolu we are in the States here. Ibe mute rinne. Ntolu bijanne. Nyinko healthcare insurance. Ntolu ngalon ko healthcare insurance. Ni tata do ko wala la checking ngon defanka come far back because ninga jibe mbuka fenja totuje. Most of it is going to the healthcare. And na I can knock on the wood. Family jamaja mambuka ta lopitan that quick.
Yes.
So it only two policy. Which one do you think means a keno at grassroots level Gambia?
Yes, Halifa Saleh Memfo, because like I said, I have to make this distinction. That is that Halifa Kadiamu Menna is about a socialist system. We have to make sure we understand that thoroughly. Halifa Memfo is about a socialist system. Well, we cannot generalize Kafuko. This is the kind of insurance we want. But insurance is not a privilege. It's a right to every Gambian. It's a right to every Gambian as security is. It's a right to every Gambian. Therefore, nobody should leave behind. ite ajelo come ya for nyame in the United States, because the help the private sector will like ntola mansakunda help back, because we are not in a social country. But I think if you look at the socialist country, they have the best healthcare system, because everybody is guaranteed to education. Coming barrier for Nyami is very expensive. Everybody is guaranteed to housing. Everybody is guaranteed to healthcare. And this is the system PDOIS left on Natila Gambia. If you go to SRFAL, your system of mensoto may alonko amount work and ate follow is almost dead. Atiko after all a rebound to be alive. I come up for how to finance it. I just want to touch a little bit. I can for 2.5 billion. That 2.5 billion incentive. Ikadi jumal nyolela. Wolem senelalti. That is any equipment that you bring niatra is related to farming. You're gonna have a duty free. Duty free, ibukadi businessman or somebody else. They give a duty free for a reason. So that is not a way where you're gonna get the money from. So the best system would be the socialist system, kind of healthcare. The people in the rural area, they have their own technique use. Pour musol ka wuluno itol bulu nyamen. Domoro Fanang has a big role to play, because it take a shawarma domo every day for 9 months. Shawarma every night shawarma. It a go ibe dungo sort of like that is gonna be a problem. Welcome kuchale domo and all this thing, you know. Isaje ko dinu ate warala baake ila kono. But now people are eating, chicken wings and everything else, and then you want to go to the hospital where you want people to help you eat all my equipment or something. So the best healthcare system, I believe, is going to be the socialist way.
Okay. Debating Barrow, I'll hold on. Let me continue playing something here. Purunga clarify more their policy.
I think that we have to be serious about healthcare and bring insurance that would cover everybody in this country. If we don't do that, we would never have all the resources necessary to pay for our healthcare bill. Otherwise, it would be the paracetamol hospitals that we have around the country, where they dish out paracetamol for almost every ailment. We have to invest in the infrastructure. There are not enough hospital beds. We have to invest in medication. We have to invest in caregivers. We have to invest in doctors. There is no reason why all the Gambian doctors working abroad cannot assist us through video conference consultations and all that. So there is a lot we can do.
Your time is up, I'm afraid. Over now to Mr. Salah.
Health technology is fundamental. That's why many people live here to go to Senegal. We must ensure that that comes to an end by identifying what we need and prioritize in accessing them to the country. It is also significant to bear in mind that already we have passed a bill. I'm a member of the National Assembly to help establish the health insurance scheme. So that is nothing new. So it is already institutionalized. And my friend is constantly mentioning communism, socialism, must deliver according to standard. And if you want quality, there must be a regulatory authority that supervises service delivery. We are saying in all sectors of society, all government departments, all areas of infrastructural development and public enterprises, there must be a regulatory authority that will annually present a report to the executive and to parliament to show whether those institutions established are delivering services according to purpose, that they are accessible, affordable, and ensuring quality. That's what we intend to ensure. That comes through institution building. And we are talking about a government. So the government is designed to establish institutions, and those institutions are designed to deliver service, because according to Section 26 of the Constitution, every Gambian is entitled to public service. And those who are restricting access to public service should not manage government, because they will be violating the Constitution of the Republic. It says on Section 26, all services should be accessible equally. to all Gambians. And we will ensure that that happens, and we will ensure that it is of quality by ensuring this regulatory authority where people can lodge complaint, and we will monitor them at the level of the executive and national assembly to see that they are functioning according to purpose.
And so, Mr. Sarah, I'm staying with that part, that is the regulatory authority. We've seen laws being enacted, we've seen regulatory bodies in place, but still the implementation part remains a challenge. We are focused on the health sector now. We want to know what extra miles a Doyle-led government would do to ensure that laws and regulatory measures in the health sector are upheld.
So with immediacy, the executive will look at its own laws and ensure that the money provided for the rendering of services is delivered according to the purpose. And will be very blunt with a regulatory authority that is established to ensure that that budget is implemented to be able to render proper services. Of course, it will be inadequate. So we will look at the inadequacy based on resource generation. So resource reallocation as well as resource generation will be utilized to be able to bridge the gap. Yes, bridge the gap. So that's what we intend to do.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sala. And just a quick reminder to you and Mr. Fowle, there is a timer here you can see. You could equally be shifting your attention to it so that we don't cut you unexpectedly. The same question, the initial question, you have 90 seconds to answer this. We want to know the health regulatory policies you would put in place to ensure a standardized health sector.
I would break it down to my senior, Honorable Sala, that in fact there is a regulatory authority. There is the Medical and Dental Association, which has the responsibility to ensure quality delivery of medical services in this country. There is a bit of a lacuna that is not controlled, and that is the traditional practitioners. I have seen a recent document on the issue of treatment for HIV/AIDS.
Okay. I will stop on that. Then we will move on a little bit. Sarjo, go ahead. Go ahead. There are policies on health system.
Okay. First, from a disclaimer. Okay. I understand. And then health is not my expertise. And then it would be foolish of me or even arrogant to say one policy would work better than the other. Now, having said that, regarding whether it provide a policy in response to their answers, na focus Bekala world. And then from my own personal opinion, as a Gambian, what do I think of that? Now, thank you, Mr. Fall, this is when the question was asked, in my opinion, the first 45 seconds, he just explained the history, repeated. He hasn't offered any policy. And then the only policy at the end, what he said about healthcare was, we need to invest in infrastructure, and his government would invest in the infrastructure and then the personnel in health. And then on a follow-up, when he was pressed, that's where he actually gave us a little bit of substance. And then from his point of view, his health policy would be, right now, the argument is we are having over, I think, 2 million or 2.5. He's saying in terms of duty-free waiver that the government is losing. And then in addition to that, the 2.5 billion that he alluded to, he would reinvest that into health. The problem I have with that in terms of this debate, where I think his policy fell short, I agree that, in my opinion, Gambia, we need to invest in health infrastructure. And then to me, when I said infrastructure, I mean the physical structures, they have to be up to standard. We need the equipment to do the health services, and then we need trained doctors and trained nurses. I understand. But what Isa is not telling me as a voter is, where would the money come from? I understand. And then two, that wastage he speaks of, where is he taken from, those duty-free? Because that's not clear. And I understand the debate doesn't give them time. I understand. But at least I like the idea that he's talking about numbers. The other thing he's not telling me, yes, I understand, you think infrastructure should be built, and then we need all this good stuff, and then you are going to slash budget from the president's office, without telling us where in from, and then where would they go. In terms of our health insurance policy, when he we need a national health
Okay. Barrow, you breaking off.
My understanding is it
Go
doesn't
ahead,
matter, but I think he fell short. He's walking.
Go ahead, Anata.
Okay. He alluded, he alluded to the current national health insurance is not working. My question is, but for Dabala Fenko, coming people pay $25 and then you get treatment, I would think it's a national health insurance scheme. He has to at least explain to us what the current system is and then why he thinks it's not working and then what he's going to offer. You understand? How would that be different? Is it going to be a law that says, coming like USMNK, Affordable Care Act under Obama? If you're working for government, you pay through the government insurance, and then if you're earning certain amount of money, if the government could not provide for you, let's say you are solvent, you could go through private market. You have the option to choose, but either way, you would have to pay health insurance. I think that's important. I think the idea is good. He's just not telling me how he's going to implement it, which is the question. That's what I wanted to understand, and then how he's going to fund it. From Halifala perspective, my understanding with his health policies, I need 4 areas, preventive, curative, and then rehabilitative sector. And then what he is offering in terms of health policies is the preventive part. What he is saying, maybe we call it, monkey doctor, with things like diabetes and others, things that could be manageable. He thinks like through education, sensitizing people, high blood and others, some of these things. You educate people about some of these diseases, what they should do, and then hopefully, we would minimize the impact of that. Curative, come for any accidents to the bone, he expect there should be a system, in the hospital, they should be able to manage and treat those things. Now, when it comes to the way he's going to implement it, and midwives in your MLBJ, you train them to do with midwife delivery. That's he want to decentralize the health system. That's what my understanding is. And then if it is complications and serious things, you go to district level, hospital and the regional level. That's how you're going to do it. What I have not heard from Halifa in terms of health insurance policy, I know I listened to the debate yesterday, but what I could understand from him is this cooperative banking system, meaning every village would be responsible, coming through VDC, generator, they would keep their own money and then re-empower it into development. The problem I have with that, because of the disparity in Gambia, for 50 years, Banco Mantra leveling, and then most of the resources would be allocated in one area. So you would not have the human capital and then the human resources for some other villages to generate. So meaning some villages will lag behind. So I don't think the idea, I understand that they would address it. And then the other thing I think Halifa could have done better, to me, from as a voter, where he fell short, he has an added advantage. Halifa is in the National Assembly. He knows the budget. What I expect from him to tell us, look, I want this primary healthcare system. I want to decentralize it. And then this is how it's going to work. And this is how I'm going to fund it. Because this is the number of money Gambia collect as taxes. This is how much we spend in healthcare. I think this is where we can take from other areas to invest those things. Or this is why I think National Health Insurance Scheme would work, because this is the number of money can generate. I think that was a missed opportunity from him to even further sell why he thinks decentralization is good. Because at the end of the day, he's talking about access to healthcare, and then to him, access to healthcare means every village has health facilities. Whether that's feasible in current Gambia, that's a debate of its own. But at least I see the idea, but I think he could have done better to sell. And then for Isha, I think I like the health insurance policy, but he doesn't explain to me how he's going to fund it, or how he's going to improve the infrastructure. So that's how I assess the board.
Okay.
What plan would work for Gambia is for the health expert to tell us, because we'll be the expertise in what works for Gambia.
Okay. Dibba.
Yes, ma'am.
Dibba, ntolunga area council sotole. Njengol be ila income kana area council. We see a little area council coming keno sate moli. Be banko sate dia. But aside, ning Honorable Halifa Salako at village level, come like for example VDC will be responsible or soto bulola. Onete amiro be work la, because dole be dishonesty and corruption or water banko come back. Another thing, Nico health insurance. Health insurance can provide national Gambian will be luntang will do, and they will still need this treatment. So it ain't two policy jibe nyadi.
Health insurance na jero to comment natuma abe provide la banko kan. It are differentiate like abo banko dingol la baso la luntangol taso. Because you make the same health facility lo use. Nil luntang sa banko kan fa eja. ita fala ngabula e fabi ko luntangolam. So ning ayatuma be kela mamira distinction nyanta tarra wol tema.
Okay.
But ne anata ila candidate fulola health policy la kunu ko saje ya fanyame. Ntanga impression I mentioned after listening to both of them is that I think Khalifa had more time to think about this issue. And, even though time may permit Nyaunya, but you can see him able to like flex his policies and then explain in detail or attempt to explain in detail how they're going to do it. Because I think I'm not sure exactly how they are going to implement it and how they're going to fund it because he did not get to explain all that yesterday. But I think possibility bejere ko as a work nole in the sense that Gambia at one time we had a primary healthcare system. It was not a perfect system, but it worked very well. In fact, other countries in the sub-region Team Sol Kinane to come and do some work study on our primary healthcare system. I remember as a young man as a young boy in Salikenya, right? We had this team many alonko mero le menango manta tuab karambongoro mumeke fango. But Ministry of Healthcare Shambale in no so train on maternity care and all that stuff. And then some of them with their traditional knowledge of those issues, they come and they do some great job. So I think Halifa like yet different layers also of healthcare services. It may work well ning I implement nyam. Because currently a mentor or mantra worker. You have many communities, many along there is not even a single person. Remember more pulse sound check or killer blood pressure check. So a lot of people got a shadow on the man in the messenger tanin nala. May along mosa check and then some problems could be caught in the early stage and you can get help right away. But most of the time, the name of the hospital or assigned them. Especially people from the rural areas, Jama Katra is almost too late. So I think the primary healthcare system, the three-tier system that Halifa was talking about could help alleviate that problem a lot. Now, when it comes to Isa, I think that the problem I have was following him is like Mamera, I found a time also enough to think about these policies and drill down on them. He talked in broad strokes about how we need to invest in infrastructure, but when I look at the funding for Kanyamen, plan about fund la nyamen. Like cutting here, cutting there, I don't think that will cut it.
Okay.
So I think it would be better if he can actually like find time himself and then
think through
it.
Think through.
And I can understand because he's new to the game.
Yes.
I can understand. He's new to the game. Probably didn't have the time to reflect on them very, very seriously.
Okay. Before we move on, Mbe continue. We want to look at their policy on education. Mbe ila fenko nyinda. Ali Minnesota koteke mi alonko. We need to discuss about the health system. Ngamele Honorable Halifa Salako at every village level. Inyanta more sort of jele to take care. Then we go to the district level, then the regional, whatever. So hospitals or clinics, basic medical fenko. That's not going to be possible. So at Fadia, ite mine miralo kumakaunt. You are mute. Mute.
Yeah, Lamin Dibba men for Wolem Tonyati, Asotata Janne, in they are done that. Amanke Kukutati in Gambia. And if you look at Intel from the United States here, they make a requirement for every job you're not sort of inside your building. So in Tolbe, we refer our employees every time near little bruises here and there. Sort of jube at that level. At the noso nyimba jube if they have to refer you to go to the hospital or something else. So that monitoring is very good. And down to the village level, that 3 tiers will work very well. You know, this you have to sit to be an expert to explain about what is going on. We know the environment. You know, for a opportunity sort of to be at the platform. That doesn't mean they understand it better than us. We all live it. So we all live in this. We know what's possible, what is not. But this system, primary healthcare level system in the Gambia, it's been working. You know, aka work lenum. But Halifa Lafta Sambala damming, that is the technology to the next level. To make it years, you know, through groups. So if this one cannot handle this one can take over from that all the way to the big hospital. Fapareta, to make it a region, we cannot accept that. We cannot afford that maybe because some rural areas, some villages don't have that income. But that is why in the United States we subsidize. A state like other states, Indiana and other states, you have Texas and New York City and California that subsidize other states. So Ashitano Wanyamale, they're gonna bring it to the table and bring all hands on deck and they think about it. And then after village or Manilialonko, they identify those villages and they see how they can help. Maybe the private sector can come up and help in that gap, but I think it's doable.
Okay. Daba? Anything?
Yeah, no, yeah, long I believe I mean for come like to have health personnel in every community, that is doable. Well, as a kenole, because 20 years ago was Sifan Laveke Kanu. Because in every village in Gambia you have a traditional birth attendant. And before also Ika Kedo Financial Lamianko is a guy, about train can dress in that to dress people and in Sifal. Like when you have a headache, they know all the kind of medicines that they need to give. So Ika Masi Matiel Financial they used to go to these communities. Maybe Wednesday they come to Lowanyomi or they come to this village XYZ. Thursday they go to these villages. So during that period, Ila Masi Makoma Ika borrow to the jail a whole lot of these things. So when they come to the village, Mobi kana bantabatonga benje, whatever sickness you have or whatever injuries you have, you complain about it and you address. If it needs for them to give you medication, they give you. If you need referral, then they direct you to go to the community hospital. My problem is the reason why services is failing in Gambia. Gambia la service delivery. What am I problem was? And I think our people need to be educated on customer care. You understand? Because to me, sickness, mola first point of Jaralo. You feel comfortable being in that environment. It's not like the medication will cure you 100%, but ila state of mind. Because you go to a hospital. The environment, like the workers are very hostile. The kind of conversation they have with these patients is not really welcoming. You understand? So I believe first step, we need to invest on our infrastructure because but some of these Lepitans are outdated. In terms of upgrade, in terms of capacity, but also in terms of equipment and in human capital. But the issue is, come as I am for to cut. You see, what people a lot of times in budget in details. Because I see a lot of people make noise. Oh, Office of the President, what they are giving them is too much. I can tell you this: any of these candidates, that budget will continue. Because what people need to understand is the Office of the President is not only the President's office. You have other parastatals or line department budget is part of that. You understand? So Amanka come like it's only the president that is having that whole $800 million or whatever. You understand? So Nite Okodo cut. Those line departments, they are under the office of the president. to fund those institutions. And some of these institutions are necessity through ISOTO. Okay, another thing with regards to duty waiver. Duty waiver, yeah, agriculture is true, but also I can tell you, there are a lot of businesses in Gambia, they benefit from this duty waiver. And sometimes the excuses they give might not necessarily mean and I think that's where the problem is. Now that government monitoring team makes if they give a duty waiver for a particular project, they should make a follow-up to make sure then they should make sure you pay that tax, but also they should charge you. You understand? Because, for example, if you look at like last year, government gave almost zero tax on sugar, on the basic commodities. But how did you Martina Gambia la Domorofengol so the price is still going up. So that percentage of tax government and he removed it totally for the business people, especially the importers of rice, sugar, and oil. So those people still, even with that tax break, government delay, they are still charging people more. So which means the monitoring or the evaluation of that tax exemption government so Gambia problem is not about, sometimes it's not about our policies. Sometimes some of our policies are outdated, I agree. But ndola problem into monitoring and implementation and maintenance. Basically not problem. But I think it's good that it's something we are as a Keno and not because maybe we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just have to upgrade the wheel to make it more modern, and especially with technology, I think it will help.
Okay.
You understand? So, but I think it's something that is doable because we have one of the best primary healthcare systems in West Africa. So we can replicate that now, upgrade, and technology for an RJ. I think it's gonna help.
Okay. Sarjo, because Lual will be learning already in the Gambia, but the implementation is our problem. Gambian will book a Lua follow, book a implement. So it as Lua Lonna, it Amaran Tolla Cool Nasitamun Tole. You are on mute. Okay. Even mute. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think political will, enforcement in Gambia, it has to do with political will. And then in political will to ye, Luai left enforce la nyawanya enforce nola. So Gambia, that's the biggest problem that I see in judiciary system and justice system. And then two, some of the current setup Gambia Minnesota in terms of enforcement nyanta will change lale because we are not having strong institution. Attorney General in Gambia is the chief law enforcement officer, but at the same time he doubled as the advisor to the president. Yeah, so that's where you have potential conflict because whenever enforcement need to happen and then that doesn't align with the current administration of policies as they see it, that would help their party, the political will not be there. What we should have done from the word get-go, State House, Nyanta State House Council, Mayor Lanko would be advisor to the president on his policies as he see fit in moving his agenda in his party. Attorney General, in as much as it's a political position, it should be independent of that. You only advise the president on constitutional issues. They could issue opinion about how they think laws should be enforced. Like some states here, but their primary job should be, they should be the chief law enforcement officer. The office should be entirely divorced from State House, because in Neo Monkey, enforcement will still lack whenever there is a conflict between how a party see their policies should go and then how the law, see certain things. That's one issue. And Wolebe Gambia Batandekang. And then even when it comes to healthcare, like Honorable Salah alluded to, we do a robust review. Gambia, one thing I believe of, coming Gambia, people don't read and then they don't want to understand issue. Gambia doesn't have a deficit of good policies and then good research. That's what they do day in, day out. You understand? There's no deficit of, raw intelligent people. Gambia, there has been many studies on primary healthcare. And then even with cell life, we want to go to specific, where to me, in my opinion, I think things feel a little bit short. under PPP regime, primary healthcare was working in Gambia. And then what Salah alluded to my opinion, Mr. Fall says policies, but I'm a what he's going to do. Salah was able to articulate what he will do. Whether that would work for Gambia, it would be difficult for me to assess as an individual because manka healthcare expertise. But what I agree with him, during the PPP days, primary healthcare, every village has a health personnel. Well, a choice of word for any candidate to explain. There's a difference between having a health personnel in every village and then having a clinic or health center in every village. Gambia budget Benjamin. To me, as an individual, unless Salah comes to me as a parliamentarian, I have Fonyeko. This is what the budget is, and then this is what I'm saying. We can set up a clinic in every village, and then I can justify it with numbers. I am not going to budge because at least I would require some, intelligent persuasion to tell me these are the numbers and then feasible. I agree with him. You can have a health personnel in every village. And then the question becomes, how do you qualify the word clinic? Does it mean if you have a health personnel that's considered a clinic, or are you saying you're going to set up the institution? Hani bi Gambia ngo clinical surgery. Na midwife so nyanda trainer, New York, other states, they certify their midwives and then they can deliver keno. And I agree with those things. And I agree with him. Every district should have a major health center. I think that's possible, it's doable. Every region need to have a hospital. But the 2 referral hospitals. And I agree with him on those things. But to argue every village must have a clinic, I think it's a little bit unrealistic, even for developed nations like the United States. They have a target like every mile where you would have hospitals, even on highways, for any accident. So I think that's a little bit over realistic. And then he did not give us the numbers. He worked in the assembly. He deals with budget at a salon Gambia revenue. And then that's why I thought the debate would be more focused on. People would tell us, as I call it, like I like the idea that they talk about economy, but tell us exactly this is how much is coming in, this is how much is going out, and then this is where we would get the numbers. So those things are important in Igbo. But Lua or Gambia, when it comes to healthcare, I know Isa alluded that we have the dental and then the medical association as a regulatory body. I'm not too much familiar with Gambian laws. And then this is something that is new to me to learn that coming and associate like dental association, they are the regulatory bodies. Malam, whether that's by an act of National Assembly, I'm not aware of that. But I would think that's a voluntary association. But until I've medical board in Gambia, I think that would be some kind of a regulatory body. But the dentist association, it could be because I don't know. And
but you have to be very careful.
Yeah, Gambia, and then I cannot speak up to that. But I know Gambia, we do not have, when it comes to, for instance, like US, privacy law, HIPAA acts and others. Gambia, we don't have those healthcare laws or even regulations in country right now.
Yeah,
those are the issues.
So Simon Beduna. Okay, sorry, Sarjo.
Legislation and then to make sure they are enforced and health personnel.
Okay. Continella, we would just listen and overview this educational system, na system or nakaral bunda ala system, or then we will go into few things. Minketa independent candidate or luwa nyanta minek lale tongol noma to make it ay koleado manding at least e kotoke hana wa kuma finjana anin carte fayo na botala after December 4th. Political party, Jamal Lebe survive la, Jamal Lebe yoila, Nteka Lebe yoila. So we will take a look into that. And brother Sarjo Barrow borra barente sonna bor because I know I had man can na make short. Mbakala Gambia quote. Dr. Kilugo Mobe Jara. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's listen to their policy about education.
A government led by you, what strategies would you implement to restructure the country's education sector that would address the issue of quality and affordable education in the Gambia?
For me, I believe that the problems in the education sector are, one, the foundation is often shaky because there is no quality there. The second is we are not teaching people, we are not training people to become what we need to develop this society. We are not training the appropriate people in the appropriate areas. That is the biggest problem. The third is the quality of the people who are entrusted with the responsibility. And we have to fix all that. The first one, we have to ensure early start education. Here, people start at 6. During my time, there was this policy that we even start at 8. I think it's a fundamental mistake. The children should start early in kindergarten and they should be taught in literacy and numeracy. And once we have that right, the foundation would be very strong. We take it to the next levels. We have to ensure that there is vocational and technical training in this country. All of us can't be lawyers and doctors. This is what we need. We need painters, we need mechanics, we need builders, we need road builders. These are the kinds of people, technically skilled people and STEM people. That's what we need in order to develop this country. If we don't invest in those, this country will be doomed. We also need quality professionals with good qualifications to teach these things. Otherwise, it will fail.
Mr. Fadia, time is up. Thank you so much. Mr. Salah, under a Doyle-led government, help us understand how you would restructure the country's education sector in a manner that will address the issue of quality and affordable education in the Gambia.
Development is about mindset and knowledge. We do not have the type of system fit for our type of society, independent country that should have attained self-determination. We need self-determined and self-reliant educational system that will build a self-reliant and self-determined people who can ensure that we become independent and totally run our own affairs. That is what is the first fundamental problem. We do not have any direction. And we are going to inject direction in this. And we are going to create an apex institution, an academy of social, natural science and humanities, and get the professors to sit down, look at our educational system from the early childhood all the way to the tertiary level. Then we'll build up this system, build up its cadre, build up its material, knowledge material that we should push ourselves. We're not even producing our own books. And we are spending millions importing. That is where we're going to put to an end by creating our own structures. We are saying, first and foremost, education must be free up to the 12th grade. The Constitution now says that education at the basic level must be free, compulsory, and accessible. We must ensure that we'll implement that immediately. From grade 1 to grade 9, it will be free education, and all the institutions will be there. We'll also go...
Right, Mr. Salah, thank you so much. And then, Mr. Farrell, I'm coming back to you. It's the rebuttal session. You heard what Mr. Salah had said. If you have any comments, you can do so now.
The solution is not in a study. The solution is to do the obvious. The quality is very poor. We start very late. We are not teaching the things they need to become very productive members of our society. In this country, if you ask for all skilled workers, they are all foreigners. Tailors are foreigners, drivers are foreigners, machinists are foreigners, electricians are foreigners, feed mechanics are foreigners. We need to train Gambian in these things. That's what we need. These are the people who would develop this country. We don't need to carry out any studies to know that there's a big deficit of this type of people in this country. This is what we need. Early start, good education, STEM.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Fall. Mr. Salah, over to you now.
We are supposed to run a government which requires policies, instruments, and programs. You must do study. Forget recommendation to implement. That's how government works. Government is not just some hypothetical situation. You just get up and say, this is the problem and this is the solution. That's why they don't have a solution. We are saying for the issue of the educational system up to grade 12, we want it to be free. Grade 1 to 9, immediate. Grade 9 to 12, a study to see how it can be done. When they finish school, 1 year national service to be paid training in any sector to get a knowledge base. And then the cooperative bank will give you the money to be able to run the business that you want to establish. That's how we want to establish a system.
All right.
Okay.
to help us understand
educational
the
system
practical.
on Moile. Fadia, go ahead.
Yo, baraka bake binto yalo mo fulala be diamola kenti about education. Halifa Sala ya start le to the nyakoi in New Joshua Nyala it on nimba Basalum Koli. And Sidia Jata Nyon from primary level from nursing school kindergarten level kata first time the new tata for university. I think he understand it very well. As a fal fanam farmer mutichal to know in Banjul junior secondary. So education system as a fal butam menkono ani ate Halifa Sala. That system was changed in 1987 or 1988 by Bakari Bunja Dabo when he was Minister of Education. And I think it's good to give access education access throughout the country. Put every Gambian here access to education. Coming out help care for Nyamina. Because before Nitata for high school on Mansea, thank God to the Second Republic. Now every region has a high school. I think it all come for Sign Fund. The technology meant for the Sign Fund. We have to deviate from tolka men karandino dinuala 2 takaway 5 3 times 8 more buka karan everybody has a computer and this digital world, so we have to do away from that. And aka technical system of men for amanke government Gambia GTTI were established because of that, MDI was because of that, so we can add to that. But ni bota what are you going to do? Komi Halifa Saleh Memfo. Then after you have to be empowered. You have to be empowered. The resources have to be there to help the person. Akamol Memfoko ate SFL, they are coming from other countries and they are the ones that are doing this just because they have help. If you don't have help, how can you implement that? So they have to make sure they have that help available. Fapareta, look at the furnitures in the government. Ikabo Muntole from Europe, from America, from China. So Munatina, they don't buy locally to empower the local people. So if they work, they have a market to sell. So, but if you train them, even if you train them, many of them are trained, but you can work together, then they go to Europe and they do other things. And they are miracle. President Jammeh policy mensoto and Bibi Dabo Yake, this 12th grade thing, Katafo University, they have to make education free. Because it's going to come back to the society. They will come back and contribute in the society. I think that is the best thing to do.
Okay, Dibba, go ahead.
Yeah, near la education policies basically SIR layout like Jero that the very foundation of our education system is poor. And then he also indicated that the quality of the people involved in our education system is very poor as well. I think I generally agreed with him that like we have problems, but I think I would prefer, if he doesn't talk down on this, on the system and the people struggling in the system to make it work too hard. But generally speaking, there are problems there. And then I mentioned just come and invest in education, especially in areas many along we need them. That's definitely needed, and it's lacking in Gambia. I remember for Tonyala Niaji Benita Gambia yet Hani project also Rebuttal Gambia. That's a Pruka Dimola Kadoku, most likely. Even when contract like a foreigner. For the Bungalo Kambang, any kind of a technical job, the vast majority of people doing it in Gambia are foreigners. And in my opinion, that's not by accident. Among the accident not. Because in the education system, woman designed Pruka more produce many along can work with their hands. But need other to make men mu woodwork support or men mu metal work support. Even a tool, because sometimes they show you the pictures of and the high school I attended the same thing. Basically, that area needed a good amount of investment. But I think I would have preferred if he could explain to us a little bit more, like how he intended to do that and where the funding is going to come from. But unfortunately, he did not dwell on that one that much. As for Mr. Sala,
Dibba.
I think I agree with him. Yes.
Ila internet. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I may indicate the major problem in our education system is the mindset. Mindset falling. I don't care how much investment we made in the system is gonna do the
okay. Dibambe muruna ne kan la connection is not quite fenko. Baro nga sinyo soto lenum funding kelem barata ka kararolek wala mala mechoti atata musunyinola muso bako ata muso futula bawo karallale and esa kan yimin forten skills ntola society there are certain jobs mi yalonko ninna funding keli yake it's difficult for them just to fit in the society. So what as a society ñun lañum policy you take a look into that and imminomita la mirot.
Again, when it comes to the health education policy, to me, I think Isa was able to show us what the problem is and then how to fix it in terms of quality education. The first part of speaker, I mean, for the only thing that is missing, in my opinion, is he doesn't show us access to education. But actually, he was able to address how to revamp the education system. If we address those things, we will have quality education. The question becomes, how do we have access to that quality education he speak of? So Amodi, that's fell short. But I do agree with him. Gambia right now, the biggest problem for anyone in education, especially we are learning a second language. It's early start, pre-K. And then he's very right about that. We should start with pre-K, where literacy and arithmetic starts from there, the mindset. That's very, very true if we want to be competitive. And then equally, he's right, STEM education should be in the forefront. In pre-K, we need quality teachers and then better equipped teachers. And then he's also correct about that. Gambia, I meant for in terms of effective training, you understand, and then targeted training in terms of people that are delivering these services. Gambia College traditionally, which produce teachers for all level, PTC, veteran primary school, and then HTC. But even with that, we still have deficiency in giving quality education to our people because teachers Jamal Menko program bank, there is not a lot of incentive for them to teach in the provinces, or Hania Bandol Vijay, we don't have the number of human capital to at least teach in all those schools. And then sometimes deficiency cardinal PTC teachers, we actually make them teach, junior secondary school. We have PTC teaching in high school. You understand, when it could be reversed. So I think he's very much accurate about that. The only thing is I wish he is able to tell the voters coming in terms of access to education, what is he going to do to make that accessible? But at least I think he's more, deliberate in laying out his policies for, he's more deliberate in laying out his policies in education, and then he's able to identify the problem and then how to solve it. Mr. Salah is correct into coming up and the access to education, and then he believes we need to make it compulsory free. Access to me, the only in terms of quality education, how do we change that? But on self-reliance. But to me, how I see it, from what I can understand, he is saying right now, the reason education system is failing or we are not having quality, it's because either we have people who are responsible for education or people who are delivering these people, they are not absolutely free in their own thinking, or the education they are providing is foreign to the country. That's my understanding. If you want self-determinant, and then you mean you understand self-reliance, so if I'm looking at it from that dichotomy, it's like he's telling Gambians go, is imposed on you. This is not what we should be learning. We should have a different approach. But the only thing, I agree with him in terms of you create national service scheme in if that should be optional, but I don't think that address quality education or whether it address in terms of access to education. But what I wanted to know, the only thing that I think for him, he fell short in selling. He said he's going to conduct a study. Halifa is a seasoned politician. I would at least expect him to know Gambia educational policies right now where the deficiency is, and where you're able to tell us that this we need to conduct another study. But if he's telling me he need to conduct a study to know what the problem is with quality education, then he doesn't have the answer to the question is an afterthought, but it's not something that he actually sit and then thought about it. So that's where
it fell
regarding
short.
vocational school, yeah, vocational training is important. But people don't see value in these things because traditionally Africa, we think you have to be accountant, bankers, and others. That's where value is ascribed. But if we make vocational education, very relevant and very deliberate, these are trade, just like how being a lawyer is a trade, being a carpenter, being a masonry is a trade. Value people will come to recognize and respect that. And then from my understanding, what he's trying to say, not everyone has to go to college to study certain things. You could finish high school and say that, look, I want to be a masonry, I want to be a carpenter, and then have vocational school, and then to have certification. And then the other thing we can do, regulate the industry, just like you regulate banking, lawyer, and order. Once your regulation, it start having value, and then people would recognize it as a trade. Imagine a society from a perception about Vitalu, Carpentalu, other machineries, and in tailor, it will change. We'll see it as a form of a trade. It's providing just like a doctor and lawyer is providing, and then by acceptable. I think those things are very, very fundamental. And I would agree with Salah with that in terms of mindset for people to see, perception, to understand these things are okay. That's important in that area. But to me, when it comes to quality and then the policies, he hasn't given us that, in as much as he has contributed so much to, providing early education to a lot of Gambians. So I would think he already have a policy or understand what the problem is in that area to bring it out. He gave access to education. I agree with that. And then I would agree with him, grade 9 to 12, before you make that free, they need to conduct a study. My take is you want to conduct a study to see the financial impact on government and then whether you will be able to fund that. That is a thoughtful and a mature thought of thinking, seeing that before being an idea for I want to see that. But how do you make it quality? Is it but it's not about access. We want quality education. I think that's what the question asks. And then that's where I saw the plan, how to answer to address quality rather than access.
Okay. Dabakh?
Yeah, I think both of them agree on education system is a problem also. And problem one everybody knows there is a problem there. But in the way where I wanted both of them to come in and hit it hard was two aspects or three. One is Gambia Mamira science and we have access to education more problem because we have almost schools in all over the country. And that's why you can shortages of teachers from us, So Gambia problem like education na problem minti. Ndek batu kanu imo flow be ya wala mu na curriculum meming use kam pour ka karang kan na diningol karang. And they need to also understand Gambia is part of WIC. WIC is an West African Examination Council that regulates Karangoke Nyami in West Africa, and Gambia is a member. So until I would have expected ILA policies to come and say, the Minister of Education will involve WIC, the West African body itself, Puria Jube in every country, yellow on curriculum data if fire because every country has their developmental needs. So you cannot just take one size fits all, and that becomes an issue because near Gambia, for example, most of these literature books that we are reading, we are taught in schools, are not Gambian autos, and the concept of the auto is not even within our culture. And some of these names are alien to Gambians. So Ikajela Wofanang is contributing a lot to students in the comprehension of the topics they are dealing with. It's giving them challenges. And every time Ikajela, like when people take exams, the number of people failing, Akasiala, because if you are taught in a book, the author is not a Gambian. The names that are used in the titles are not Gambian names. The setup of the team itself among a Gambia culture, or you don't a bit difficult to understand. That's one. Two, the teaching field is more of like how the security sector was in the First Republic. Okay, in current Jita school, so I saw teaching as an opportunity. I just go and pick it. Because before, teaching was a profession, before Ika Karandiroke, you go to the teacher training college, you get train, for your faham, you understand, and it becomes passion. You understand? But you do call it because he or she has no choice. Abuka Odoko Valley. Because when we were in primary school, some of our teachers come like village man schools then. So we used to travel almost a kilometer and a half to go to school daily. But when we close school, some of these teachers would ride bicycles and they would come to our villages to make sure study can. So those kind of teachers, they have passion for what they were doing, even though the pay wasn't that much. Because a lot of times we will complain about there are not a lot of incentive. But even office call in Gambia, there are not a lot of incentives in that. You understand? So, but I believe curriculum is one thing that we need to change. Two, okay, Nyanta Jubela Fanan. What I cannot understand is Gambia College. He or she spends 3 or 4 years at Gambia College, but in our graduator, they earn only a diploma or a certificate. Okay, Yemo Fanan Jaita University of the Gambia to go and learn. After 4 years, now graduated, he comes out with a bachelor's degree. So new more flow, if they put out their qualifications for job employment, the person with the bachelor's degree gets higher position or if they will more than the teacher. So like what government needs to do is to realign their policies to make sure if you have the feeling of going to Gambia College or going to GTTI or MDI to study whatever course that you want to study with, need graduator after 4 years, all of you will have a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
You understand? So that in terms of remuneration, it may be competitive. Like you can entice a lot of teachers to go to Gambia College or to go to MDI or to go to the university. You understand? Because they will know Tata GTTI, or if I go to Gambia College after 4 years, I graduate with a bachelor's degree. Then new opportunity before I waste my time at Gambia College, I'll prefer going to the University of the Gambia. Of course to study. So another problem for me and government I expected their policy structure that was how are they going to reset the mindset of our people? Because some of these issues has more to do with not social setup. Okay, today you see the reason why a lot of Gambian young people don't want to go and learn technical skills because of the level of society. You understand? Because they don't have a professional training, they should understand ko nyimu do quality. Do quality me along ko nyanta respect la nyanta fun hormal and that's the way people are gonna see me. But I can put on my very nice clothes and then I go to work at my workshop and I put on my clean clothes and then go home. But they will put on one denuko for almost 6 months. Even when they are going into public transport, will be running away from them.
Yeah.
You understand? So we'll be fun because Suwal California they like like how people see you, because your image presentation also is very much important in whatever you do. You understand? But you cannot blame them because a lot of these people, they did not go through proper education system can you do call current. Most of these jobs trades are learned through the local environment. Come like if a konyoto you fit a garato drong yeta you fit a karango you go and do carpentry. But the reason why they cannot compete the other products that are coming from outside is because if you don't have a professional training, measurement became a problem also. And the measurement is a big problem for a lot of our workers, especially technical people working in technical fields in Gambia. Okay, for example, Bulo, near Senegalese, you have a Bungo local. Senegalese technical institutions since after independence. So most of ila amazing soul wala ila welder man or carpenters, they went through that school. The school is in Chess. So somebody who went through the normal education system, currently have a how to make measurements, how to make corners. Niwe Bungo law is totally going to be different from somebody melanko atata apparently ala dong a making in current wrong. Measurement from Otano. So that is why sometimes you have some of these structures near low fun. Sometimes ni moye bunlo long back. Now look at the because the corners are not exactly the same. So I have a difficult if we want to entice the private sector or the government to be buying some of these products. Now the government also makes some of these young people who want to take this thing as a trade. They go through technical trainings to understand every product that you build, the finished product, finishing is very much important. And whatever more entice them because I'm a private citizen, I have my money and I want to buy a product. I'll look at quality, but also I'll look at I'll look at Ninya, because these are friends that don't just because I want to support somebody, let me go and buy it. You understand? Yeah. Okay, some of these products, you go to Senegal, Ika Capital Jele, Ika Fenkol Dokule, Nia Foye Fanya Dokule in Senegal, you don't believe it. Because Ika Miraloko is an imported product while it was built in Senegal. But Niage Ibewo Satola, they can do that is because they have the required training and the government finance should be ready to subsidize some of these young people. Because I don't just believe training. When you train people, you should be able to help them and accompany them to start something near Uncle Sama will be. But if you keep training people and you are not giving them any opportunity to Yemin Karang, how they can add value to what they've already learned to make a living, it's also going to be a problem. We'll have too much trained people, but people who might end up doing some other courses. But the most important thing, if we talk to our people, understand the carpenter, the lawyer, and sometimes the carpenter makes more money even than the office worker.
Yeah, ndafango mang kujama understand back home. Ndanga amera fita wonyanta motoli bele dada. Was qualified to fix all the cars. So well, this car need to go to this particular person.
Yes.
The first time, why are we taking this car over there? Yes, because Nimali is specialized. Yes.
Yeah, there should be speciality. But y'all don't come Gambia wrong. Even in our normal setup, like even at the hospital, like, okay, Gambians cannot differentiate who is a psychiatric doctor and who is a nurse. Because every muso is a nurse and every guy is a doctor. So maybe he's a nurse attendant. But in the community, they will call him a doctor. And they will still accept injection.
Yeah,
because,
thank you.
You understand? So these are all things I think our education system, grading system, and to be issuing out license so that people can understand in every field. Now regulatory body whatever you call makes everybody for you to do something, you must be trained and be certified. And Ibajala has a customer. If I walk into your office, the first thing that I look at is still a certification.
Yes.
You understand? So, minimum of certification, I will know this guy then is not trained or is not qualified to do this. Then I will go and look for somebody who has that. And that is how government would be able also to monitor all these people, because any license that they issue, they will make sure you have an address and contact numbers and all these things that they can be making follow-up. But exactly. It makes monitoring easy.
Yeah, the internet altar, you were wrapping up something. Nisa wrap up now. We are going to our next topic. Time fella is running out so fast. Go ahead, Dibba.
No, nyimbe damen to labang kanteng ko la fon drong ko Mr. Salaka men fon nje ko molla mindset. For education system we focus wotokang. Because nema water tunkang. Abe kole alle pour area dol tembendino Gambia la banku kilinde me ya lon ko na education system go dinno ko sta karam woro from grade 1 all the way to grade 12 even college inana buka karam mune fam banku di yat you know inana buka karam mune mu mechola nafati in a society so wala da nim mol jida karam mo dinno be gara la fen kilinde mala mo be la office do ko wol and what a banko yirwande nola. So I like that idea kung a holistic education system we are jibe kuke. You know, make a hold over, like we create a system me alonko abi mo karandlale na jita je is a fully functioning citizen. Me alonko aya nyum banko dindol fana na value, understand and respect. I think that's very, very important. But as long as most of the education system is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah. Ntola hakil kumala ndafa nga dol ker literature nga buku dol ri wa Napoleon ni wol fen ko te nyina tawol tol fa wala la say. Ntola hakilol mandia nyin to si pal bar ni ko nu kadilam nu Omar nte nyina bare ko ba fa la Napoleon fen ka jana nte I don't remember those names you know, but anyway ntola hakilo mandia but anyway
me kuntu binto, but just 2 days ago name one Gambian brother here, you know, he's a young man nabe kachala my explain ka Gambia be independence at the time moment people like Sadaura Karabaja or Sirif Diba Sirif, they don't even have a car. Like a bicycle or pedal from village to village to campaign. From Koina all the way to Kartong and back. You know, I never heard about that. And then I can't Gambia Fajira High School. So it can Napoleon for them. We read about other people's history.
Yeah.
Ike from Maranyame Ngokarang. But mbugam from history karan income from Maranyame. You know.
Yeah, you told me because I wanted to do a show. Me along kombe mole invite lana bina Gambia la history kachala mole eja. We cannot still find that person. Me along as a history karanyano. And unte I'm a Gambian karanta Gambia la I cannot even tell my own history. And my kids, when they get off school, ika Mexico la history la karamfenga jana lundondo ndingonata konyoko. We are starting African history so that will be the last one, right? You know, yeah. So but in fact, I don't even know my history. So I don't even know most of the countries within Africa itself. I have to teach myself stuff like that. So, but anyway, we are moving on.
No. We have to be fair to our education system. I have to digress.
Okay. okay. Sarjo, come on.
Qualified 2000. What do you know of here? You understand? Gambia, we learn national history. History has two components in Gambia. You know, because until covering a grade 6, we want to go to high school. That's where they change system. Junior high than any high school. High school, you learn history. You understand? School of Dolby, they put history, economics, and in literature under one category, and then you can choose one. Because I choose Newsrod, but Mahani is Futajefang because you're civil servant. So I went to Nasi right away. I did history. History has two components. You have national history and African history. And national history, we learn about Gambia, even the times of, from the time of Musa Molo, you know, for the Kaba Dumbuya, Canada independence, how it started, JC Fight. We were taught national history from the time to independence all the way until we learn about that. Government, I took it in high school. And when they teach us about that, if you are in Dola primary school time, you learn social studies. Even this Abukan and all these things, those curriculums were there. You understand? The question becomes Falcam for quality in them. We are not having good teachers to teach these things. And this one side or like
Sarjo is breaking off. Sarjo.
If I could go to university and a BA, so why would I do HTC? Yeah, college. Honestly, it was an end. I mean, you understand it. Kabri University in other days would have incorporated education as a curriculum. Meaning that a university, you could graduate your education study, but at least a specialist. I think a HTC program that within a year before I'm in Gambia, And then my major was agriculture. And then I believe social studies. Well, in a major area, you do this other area, but in inter school, those are the 2 areas I should actually teach. But because of so, they teach areas it's their minor or they are not even competent in that area. PTC, they train you to be a jack of all trades, like for Fita Yemoto Sifa Bededa. So that is the problem. But we are having this education. The high school history was there. Literature too, we have African literature and European literature. You do 6 books in European literature and 6 in African. The problem is Gambia. We have to take ownership. Gambia from Bokasafero, okay? Halifa was speaking of we don't produce book. I don't think the issue is producing book. We don't write our own books. Just sign the from Yaja Gambia history. For as of 2 university no history books taught in Gambia should be imported. You understand? They should be written by Gambians, maybe doctorate, but people are not writing in Gambia. How many people, even the loyal, maybe veterans, how many people write about legal research? We don't have law journals, law review, these secondary sources. Writing book inspire. Gambia but people are not writing in our own curriculum.
Yeah, thank you, Sarjo.
Before you go,
okay, Sarjo, you are talking to Hakilu Kumal. This service should start early.
About Gambian literature, African literature. Yeah.
I just have a quick question for Brother Sarjo. Do you remember what book you guys use on Gambian history when you were going to school in Gambia? Do you, by chance?
Mom Bukoning remember specifically national. Most of them they are written by these Nigerian and then Sierra Leonean professors. It's like a pamphlet. You understand? Where we learn about national history. Yeah, it's a pamphlet. You understand? And then that's where we learn about even during the migration when we have Mali Empire, Songhai Empire, Ghana Empire, and then up to present day Gambia. Yeah, understand. And then these all the other ethnicities, we learn about it, and then from the Fulani tribe, the Mandinkas, how the migration happened, all the wars of the Gambia. Yes. The time of JC Fai and then PF Small and then Sadada Kairawa Jara, their efforts towards independence. We learn about those things in Nasir. And then I went with people to Nasir. These things are there. We learn about
but Sayong coming for it. Minimum for no Nasir. Walter old history learn. So we are saying that somebody at our local level, our early level of education, which is yes. Somebody to early level, Hanibe primary school, before the common entrance, or before the common entrance, then graduate, you should know some part of basic history of our country.
That's what SES should do, social and environmental studies.
Yes.
Primary school. Primary school social and environmental studies should be a dichotomy, teaching us about our environment, to be conscious about the fauna and flora, this Banjun Declaration. At the same time, to learn about our national history and preserve it. Ni abukan story until that time. I don't know, things have changed. A lot changing in Gambia, books keep changing. You understand? But the biggest problem we are having is Gambians, we are not writing our own history. And then the education department is not forcing that and then giving incentive for people to write.
Yeah.
Kabringa that the curriculum should have changed. The curriculum could have changed. We have Gambians writing about these issues. Okay. Even SES or like a government here in the US. You start reading government from elementary school. Until the grade 10 in Gambia.
On grade 10.
How government works. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all very much.
If you are even lucky, if you're in the art field.
Yeah. Some of them don't look at grade 10. They stop at grade 9. At least they should know something about the country itself. Call us or Alimba to follow. We're just going to reflect on 2 things here. Then this kachani is very important. Now na Facebook. Ali follow YouTube, please. Ali subscribe. Ali information is all about the Gambia. In detail, min kacha min ke kampurum fansun na falem. It's not about a particular political leader or anything. We are looking at our details in education, policies, and all that stuff. So mbe continue la kacha kono. First of all, brother Sarjo Barrow le soto jang ngamrundi nane ala another song I enjoy koteke. Thank you with your knowledge. Na brother do fana kotoke soto jang Gibril Fadia, thank you for joining us. Na Lamin Dibba soto jang afele duma jang afanang ayal hajo be tujanata. Thank you. Na Dabakh fele amurunta nang koteke. Next weekend be murun nali na nalkana nyina until election time. Then Sokala, the source name is your vote, your voice. It's very important. Please Allah share. Mbita kachakono. So mbita Fadia. Fadia.
Damn.
So mbita political kono a little bit. So we look at two.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mbita la territory to. So brother Sarjo de mbade tendila jende. So Gambia no le mandu sola tala cartela. So he have to say something. Nga nomination o jele. Nga rejection ol jele independent candidate ol jamale yo wala reject na bota esa fal doron na yo wala tombo bare nata jele ko patiol fanam reject jele min keta CA Dr. Cisse and Honorable Mai Fati ibe court. We are not going to talk about that ngo kachala no ni na video le jam but lafita min kachala walem nyim political patiol ika invest le ika la time spent ika kuoli beleke required by the constitution inyanta min kala pour register ni okay. Do you think walu inyanta war reject lale just because iko ima in a votes lesoto? That's one question. Two, independent candidate they don't have any commitment. Aketal ko itol natale dula occupy the wrong ni pareta they are gone. Imam party soto ima any commitment soto ima anything soto. Ite amera wolua luwa le nyanta lala wol kamia lonko. It should be almost equal to patiola kabata minje to maintain the party for 5 years.
Ila first question on you, political party lonko, they don't meet the requirements. Pour que eliminate nyame if that is the right thing to do. That is exactly the right thing to do. Because everything anyanta rules and regulations. So if you cannot have 200 from one region, obviously you're not supposed to waste people's time. Because Ibajiloko, they invest a lot of things in these elections, as far as materials and then database and all these things. So more that is exactly right. And I applaud that. Afulanja warning about the independent candidates definitely is very sad because it all can useless as a stepping stone for palasol sang or positions or favors. Because opinion, this is what I'm saying. Because in the United States, if you are running for independent, all the responsibilities as a political party, even though I'm political party soto, and then kodo dealer for sponsors. You have to declare that and you have to pay taxes into it. And also you have to return some of the money and it can calculate to a certain extent, a certain amount, how much you can give. But in here, you've been told they are playing the games because they've been in the West. Most of them, a lot of them, they know how these things works. Nitata Gambia, they say, okay, I register, I'm going to be independent. In Yantale, they charge them exact amount, a political party, so may charge. If you want to stay independent, that's fine. If you don't want to have because it can logo certainly. If you have a logo and you are given all this right, then you also have to be like the other people. They have EI companies, they have bureaus in every regions, they have all these structures, and they are looking for the seat that exactly what you are looking for. You know, it ain't left them it ain't for them the same thing. So Munatina, they are doing all these depends so bondi like man bondi you wanna cut corners. And no fana they have to investigate to them. Kodol Menelialonko Molia dealer to be a president candidate. If you are not a president candidate, please give me my money back. What in Yantakela? But they just put it in their pocket. On top of all that, signing you come out and endorse the president and then you go out for him, maybe in the promise of being an ambassador, all these political positions. Because I mean, I know one story out of all these independent they reach out to me and telling me, help me find sponsors. What? Help me find what? You know, that is very wrong. They're using us, and this has to stop. They have to change this. I don't have all the answers, Nyanta Menkela, but I know that there is a problem. The money that they collect and then also near more endorse, they go to just look for a position. Let me tell you this, Binto. It's easy. Yeah, for you are independent candidate. You go to your region where people knows you. Then you campaign, you have little followers, and then you go to the president. I want you to make me an ambassador. Now you wanted to go to United States, or you want to go to UK or somewhere. You take your kids and to go acquire education somewhere else, and then near ambassador to you or attach you or whatever in that diplomatic area. Then you in dimbayal belebeta. Number one. Number two, ila drive for better. Ila watchman or for isha someone with your cook. And you are winning. So this cut corners, we have to put a stop to it. And I think this is what exactly people are doing.
Okay. Dibba.
Yes.
Dibba banjun administrative area ndingolet. Na independent party jele ifinti tanam it had a collect very quick. So CV in CA wol mini alonko it all they are serious party them established it had a jele imai enough sotonanje. So muna don't mini alonko inate jef ngalo ko ila right le ila luala. But inyanta ni more serious ngol kalela because of ni independent all min nata thing just to moli ye mutalako they are not serious but ye kalelek ite mina miro ko
na miro just because you are an independent does not mean that you're not serious.
Okay.
You can be an independent and be a very serious person. You have an ideas and then you are passionate about your country and you want to run for president, but you're not part of any political party. And one reason or another, you did not start your own. So I think avenue for independent, for me, is a very good idea with a caveat. And that caveat being because political parties, they invested a lot of time, resources for a political party maintain. So if political parties show the registration to register for presidential candidates, let's say they charge a certain amount of money. Independent candidates, they should be given some kind of conditions that will make them invest in it. But it should not be that easy. But I think the avenue is a very important one. It should be there. My problem with a particular Shia batting or candidate Shia batting, I think we can do something either at National Assembly level, or I'm not sure if IEC as an institution has the power for Kaudol Keno. But yeah, given the political system will operate can yamen sign them. Nintendo a party lobby, a content secretary general and party leader. That position is for life almost. So there could be young people, many along they share the same political ideology with me and the party. They agree with the party in terms of policies and programs, 100%. And they're ambitious, they want to run for president. But because I'm the party secretary general and leader, there is no chance for them in that party as long as I'm alive. So what would they do? At engineering world. So that we don't have a lifetime leadership of political parties in the country. Okay. For example, if you say, NPP or PDOIS, you are the party leader, and then you contest for 2 elections in a row, then at least you step aside, at least for 1 cycle, because system of me and Nimmo can sign thing. I have because Nimmo do Adamal drunk, Palaso in a drunk. Well, when the leader is there, it's a problem right away. Ningo create then young people who are ambitious and they want to run for president, they will have the chance. Party should start primary. They have the chance to run for president, Nimo win, they can. But as long as those doors are closed, the only avenue open for them is to either create their own political party or run as an independent.
Okay.
The other area, my brother Bemim Fokang, when it comes to Fenko, I don't the independent or Fenko.
Kanana, yeah, just to, yeah.
Fundraising and all the, not only independent candidate, but I think political parties will have funding and then to regulate that.
Okay.
It should be regulated so that we have some structure in it.
Okay. All right. Brother Sarjo. Independent or lananang. I nga kachake nunjanne. So many things. Nale video jibe last Saturday jang. But still mbe murunanan because ngajalo ko Dr. Sise natala ko political party independent or mini kanane kadula occupy immediately. Walu is a qualified no or imandi qualified, but I atinale it all dollars disqualified no. Munete amera nyenta mine lala independent ol fanankang isaje ko mobe ta wulla no ka fa kombe kala independent net and you go ne kuol botale ye fiti do rete la hajo yamuru na yafo fadi sponsor ni ya kotek
So, I hold a contrary view. Individually, the opinion is any Gambian, for that matter, should have the right and should aspire to be a president. Now, I want our political debate to mature enough, in as much as you can aspire and have that right. Gambian yalanko, nyine ben nafalang vote ye. I only believe the only requirement for a president in Gambia, even covering draft constitution of Ekala, I wrote about it and then I object. I think age limit, Nico 30 or 35, a Gambian citizen, and then residency requirement, period. The rest, election laws or restrictions like voter nomination, but that should be the foundation from the constitution. And then that's what I believe in. And then independent candidate, let us not do it. The thing is, I don't like to talk about this too much because party there's a lot going on. But political party, other than how the party is regulated by IEC, anything extra than independent candidate, they all pay the same amount of fee. They all require the same amount of signature. And then they all require the same minimum 200 from every constituency law. Nothing changes there in terms of those legal FENCO requirements. The only distinction is political party, IEC or regulated because you are an organization. You regulate nyadile in the sense that in a political party, the privileges that comes with a party, if officials of a certain area, if a Congress holder, we want you to do this thing. But independent candidate, you are one man, so basically, you don't need an approval from an executive. If people want to follow your idea, they could. But this is a party. They just want some basic fair rules. It's an investment. And then even independent candidate, they are also investing in it. Now, what happened in a month ago, that's not how independent things should happen. More independent candidate. And I know intentionally, just to pay the 10,000, the signature requirement midla, but mbelo la purunto e fintije. You understand? I might not even bother myself to go Santor. I could just sit in West Coast, 300 signatures, and then I'm only going to IEC to submit nomination. Now, media lay profile this independent candidate as well as the other people. I'm only going there to submit. What I expect IEC to do at least 1 year before election, people could do nomination, paper filing, even through electronic FENCO. If you want to be an independent candidate and then you want people to see you, campaign media normally I can even go there with 2 signatures, still go and then submit my paperwork, knowing fully well it will be rejected. But at least that 15 minutes notoriety, media I already got it, whether I have the support or not. More long. IEC tafala konin 2 vote lenata. IEC would always say I fell short of meeting the requirement. And then I go do my political, entrepreneurship to join other teams. So that's where the issues are. The only problem I have with our election act, it stems from degree 78. You understand? And then 76 or 78. I changed only in 2016, before that I think 2015 when Jambe make that amendment. Some of the laws are so draconian. and then some of the procedures, until a review of it, I think most of them will not pass constitutional muster because Nenebuka challenge the Supreme Court, Jambela time or everyone is a little bit frigid. Yeah, but the rules and then the procedure, some of them are not clear. These 200 and then this nomination requirement, I think those things are reasonable. Take US for an example. Article 2, Section 1. The only requirement to be a president in the United States, you have to be at the age of 35 years, a natural born citizen, and then been a resident for 14 years. Gambia is asking for 5 years. 14-year residency in the United States. That's the constitutional flaw. Nothing else, Mantaraji. But states will, because of political party, and then they put certain restriction, signature requirement, whether you would be on the ballot. Like some states, any signature requirement, some state you must get at least 1% of the signatures from every congressional district or 500, whichever is fewer. Some state they would require you to get only 5% of the signature pour allow you to enter a ballot in that state because they are taxpayer la kodole bitaje. Nita mahani 5% of the voters. Why are we going to put logistics of taxpayers
money?
So they would only write your name on the paper. So I see that 200 signature from every administrative area with 5,000. I think it's reasonable. Filtered, and then that is doing its job. So 26 people I be filtered to 6. The way we go about the registration, that's where the problem is. More camera, more Seattle. At the beginning, it would look clouded, but what I have issue with and what's not clear. Let's say NPP has the capacity. You went to Banjul, your registration, okay, you have 10,000 registered voters nominated on your ballot. You only need 2. Banjul only has, I think, 22 or 24,000. UDP, let's say you get another 10,000. The question becomes, because these names were written on the paper ballot, into Form A, I think Form A Part 1. Would IEC only use the 200 you are required, and then the names, even though they appear on the ballot, they would not use it, consider the only 200 remaining in the ballot. Or because you were nominated by a valid registered voter, the fact that the name appeared on your form, whether IEC use that person or not.
Okay.
Disqualify the person from nominating another person. This is what is not clear, and then that's where the court is going to intervene. I think a year or a year and a half before these things, most of these things would have been clear, and then party would have on the administrative law and then procedural due process, they would have the requirement opportunity to be had and then cure those deficiencies if need be. But that's for our Supreme Court to decide what is reasonable and what's unreasonable right now.
Okay. Daba? But left ada. Doli alonoko, obviously, you told they will not be elected. You told it is selective. Doli dual citizenship issues. They have other issues and they know. You told they shouldn't be there at all. So it ain't in a mirror quote.
Yeah, along Gambela politics kachana buka easy proof more like fairly. You see, my issue is a lot of these people will make complaints about these independent candidates, so long as they don't join their camp. But once they join their camp, they don't see an issue with regards to the candidates' behavior or what their motives of getting into this thing is. But a lot of the people that are making endorsements, whether they are political parties or individuals, they are doing it with the number one priority is to look out for them. And that's the truth. Either to be employed or to occupy that party comes.
Okay, Dabakh Malick.
Oh my God.
Okay. So now
okay. So I think the law is there for every Gambian. My belief is every Gambian has the right to be voted for and also to vote. So it doesn't matter whether you form a political party or you want to stand as an independent candidate. Because the thing is, we've all known how political parties are set up in Ghana. For example, I am not a member of a political party because I don't believe in following one leader for the rest of my life. Because if I'm in any organization,
I want to occupy positions within that organizations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we have seen in Gambia since independence, and that is no wonder why most of these political parties will die with their leader. When the leader is no more, the party dies. Or when the leader dies, politics, the power of the party goes down.
That will be our next question. If
You
some of
understand?
these political parties will survive, yes.
Exactly. So in the way, I don't have a problem. I think some of these political parties, some of these independent candidates are more serious than some of these political parties. Because the truth is, if IEC was going through the election act, a lot of these parties would have been deregistered. Because majority of these parties don't hold offices across the country. A lot of them. Maybe if we have 10 political parties, probably 2 or 3 would have fulfilled that criteria. That's one. 2, a lot of these political parties also and these independent candidates, they spend money. Because the way political parties are spending money to go and campaign is the same way independent candidates also are spending money to go and campaign. So at the end of the day, for me, the thing is, if we want to hold everybody accountable, I think it should be across the board. Because the kind of funding some of these political parties are receiving, independent candidates will not receive that. Because in Gambia, the mindset is you can only win elections through a party. And a lot of these political parties are receiving millions of dollars in funding, which I don't have a problem with. But I think we should have a law that states that you should declare your campaign funding, the source of your campaign funding. I think is very much important.
Okay.
But for me, I think some of these political parties were not definitely ready for these elections. And the reason why I agree that, you know, if you want to run for elections, you need to have nominations from all the regions. Because I think, I don't know whether it's the Election Act or the constitutions, I think bars people forming political parties based on regional groupings or ethnicity or religion and stuff like that. So to make sure that when you stand as a candidate, you have a representation across the country. That's the reason why they are asking for this 200, which I think is not that much. If parties are really serious, I think they should be able to meet this criteria. Because for me, I think 200, if you cannot get 200 votes in Banjul or in Pirkama or West Coast region, there is no need for you to go and campaign there. You know, because out of a 24,000 or 20-something thousand voters, if you cannot be able to get 200 people who said they believe in your idea or they want to nominate you or they want to see you as a leader, I don't think then the question is how serious are you as an independent candidate or as a party? So for me, I think the issue is, you see, political entrepreneurship would be very difficult for us to remove it in Gambia, because a lot of these people, okay, even if they don't want me to stand as an independent candidate, I can go and form a party, but it will only be a briefcase political party, because we have seen that in Gambia. Some of these parties that are registered in Gambia, they don't even have a complete executive that is in operations. You know, so they just give out names of people as executive members, but most of the decisions is being made by the party leader, because that is the person who came out with the money to fund the party and register the party. Or once you become a leader, your voice is supreme over the executive of the party. So most of the decisions that are being taken, it's done by the Secretary General or the party leader. And that is why no wonder when you have a problem with the party leader, you are kicked out of the party. You know, or you cannot even go into Congress, because some of these congresses, I think they are more of like formal, because it's hardly for you to see like, okay, an ordinary person within the party comes out and say, I'm running against the party leader for the position of for the candidate of the party in subsequent elections. Things like that don't happen. Once you do that, you start having issues within the party, and most likely you will either be kicked out or you will walk away.
Okay.
So I think the independent issue, I don't see a problem with regards to that, because some people also might want to run on an independent ticket because probably they have an agenda which they think would resonate well with the people. But once you said, I am creating a party, a lot of those people might not necessarily want to join, because when you belong to an organization, you are holed up there. So even if, whereas you have an issue, you find it very difficult to express yourselves the way you want to. If you disagree with what the party is doing, they will not see it like, okay, the party is so much democratic. And that is why I always say the problem begins from the parties. And that is why once somebody is voted into office, automatically they become very, how can I say, we complain about our leaders being dictators, but we create dictatorship within our political parties in the first instance. And that is how the leader is made to be a demigod, that nobody should challenge him, he's perfect, he's this, nobody should tell him anything, nobody should have a disagreement with the party leader, because that is how supporters are molded. So once the leader comes into office and somebody is out there who does not agree with the policies or the way he or she is governing, they take you to be an enemy or a hater, and that is why you see all this noise that is happening on social media. So for me, I think is political parties also need to evolve and need to understand that the party it shouldn't belong to any individual or a group of people, but it should be a representation or an organization that represents every Gambian, and anybody who sees him or herself in it should be able to compete for any position within the party.
Okay. Daba, this is going to be my last question. Ite Amira, which political parties will die and which ones will survive? What's going to be their fate after December 4th? We want this honest opinion. You mentioned the party's name or a independent candidate. You have to know exactly what do you think will happen after December 4th. Daba, you start. There you go. That will be our last question before we open the line. I'll stand by. The number is down there. It's +16783900539. You call. I'll stand by. We're gonna open the line as any parent and your question or answer. Okay. So Daba, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I've been speaking about this thing long time ago.
Okay, bring it on.
And I'll start with the two front runners for now.
Okay.
And that is NPP and UDP.
Okay.
Okay, NPP, if they win these elections, I think it's gonna strengthen the party more, because the floodgates of people cross-carpeting to NPP will be more. So that will give them the strength to solidify themselves.
Okay.
But I'm afraid also if they lose, the party might not necessarily die, but I think of the power that the party has will go away. Especially if they compete in subsequent parliamentary elections and local government elections and did not have much parliamentarian or local government offices. So I think that will definitely have a negative impact on the party. And that is why I'm not surprised they are doing everything humanly possible to win, because they know what is at stake. Okay. You see, a lot of the way NPP was set up is because it's a new party, and the party is formed by people. Most of the people who created the party came from the United Democratic Party, and some other members who came.
Okay, go ahead.
In the party. So NPP will do everything possible to win, because if they don't win, the party might not necessarily die, but it will definitely disintegrate, and I don't think they will have another opportunity to come into power anytime soon. Will they
die in the mobile of a because so will they die with everybody else?
They might not. The party may still exist, because in Gambia political parties will still exist so long as you are able to have an executive of 5 or 6 people. You still keep saying the name of the party. For example, NCP, people still talk about NCP as a registered political party, but in terms of the ambience, in terms of operation, is the party really existing? No. You have parties like NRP of Ahmad Ba. People still see it as a political party, but is the party really doing what it needed to do to exist as a political party? No. So I'm afraid the same thing also will happen to them. Okay, in this election, the one that has the biggest stake in this election is United Democratic Party. If UDP loses these elections, it's really not gonna be very good for them. And the reason why I said that is because, one, you see, the reason why UDP is able to bring all these people still to stand behind the party is because still you have the leadership of Dabo. Dabo is like the common denominator that binds them. But the truth is, you have factions within the party, individuals within the party who are creating their own internal groups, preparing themselves to succeed Dabo. So whether they come out openly and talk about it or they don't come out openly and talk about it, it's another issue. But the truth is, the reason why they are all bind together to fight for 2021, the common denominator is Dabo. And that is why I was not surprised Dabo was chosen as the flag bearer. Is he a winning candidate or is he a sellable candidate? To me, I think they could have gotten a better candidate who is easily sellable than him. But the reason why they will stick to him for this election is because they know if Dabo is taken away from the equation, other factions will start coming up. And the factions would be, you have the original 1996 UDP members, who most of them have sacrificed and they've lost a lot. They've done a lot of sacrifices for the party. So you have also people who came in 2016 who were part of the previous regime, people who served under Jame, and they've said a lot of things about UDP guys. They've had loggerheads with the UDP supporters and UDP executive, but you know, politics is a game that, you know, today you can be in this side, opposing side, tomorrow you can all sit down together and talk. So some of these people also, they know they came in 2016 and some of them are occupying executive positions within the party. But do they really believe 100% in the ideas of the party? I don't think so. I think they just saw an opportunity to come into a system to get job opportunities or be part of the executive, and that is what happened in 2016. When the coalition won, UDP had the upper power because, number one, they were one of the biggest opposition parties, but not only that, also the candidate who won the election came from the party. So it was easier for me to go and join UDP than join NRP, because when I joined UDP, it's easier for me to occupy positions in government than when I go and join maybe GPDP or all that stuff. So for me, I think them losing this election, number one, Dabo will retire from active politics, like being a contestant in subsequent elections because of age and all those stuffs, you know. But it will be very difficult also for them to have a smooth succession plan post Dabo, because the thing is, up to today, I have not seen that one individual that you can look up to in the party to say, okay, if Dabo is not there, this guy is coming automatically. You understand? So succession plan becomes a problem. The other thing is, if they lose to Barrow, some of the people who are within the party probably might migrate to Barrow. Because the truth is, you see in Gambia, people who say, this guy is supporting Barrow because they are looking for a job. Basically, everybody, most of the people who belongs to these political parties, they are there not because they love Gambia. They are there because they know when the party wins, I'll be a minister, or I'll be an ambassador, or I'll have something going on for myself. And that's the same way some of these business people are supporting these political parties. Because they're supporting these political parties not based on policies. Like in other advanced countries, business people will support political parties based on the kind of policies that they will bring on. But in Gambia, business people will support political parties because they want to patronize them so that when they come into power, they can be issued contracts and all that stuff. So it's more of like an investment for them. Okay, the other parties that I think will die is maybe GPDP, NRP, GMC of Mayfati, because these parties have not been actively involved as a party in politics. Like they've not been contesting elections on their own for a very long time. Okay, PDYS will not necessarily die because I believe it's an ideology, and most of the people who belong to that group, they believe in this ideology, and some of them have been there from a very young age. So what will happen is, I think the fact that the current leadership came out and said this would be the last time they are contesting, they've already prepared themselves for their succession. So it seems you've seen they are able to entice people like Jaha, who is a very young, smart girl, you know, a female coming into the party, and she has already declared that after Halifa, she wants to run for the leadership of the party, which is very encouraging. So I think for them to grow, they will need to change the way the party was being run for the past 35 years. So I think they need to modernize it more in terms of their policies and acclimatize themselves with the modern technology that entices young people if they want to stay still relevant. They may exist as a party, because for me, I always say, probably PDIs did not come into politics to win elections or lose. For them, it's more of like an activism sort of campaign that they have for themselves. But I think maybe the next generation of leaders who are coming, they will be coming out there to contest elections to win, because I think that is the essence why people create political parties.
Maybe they will make the name shorter too.
Hopefully.
Okay, Dibba. Jamala be survive la din Jamala be fala. December 5th, pam. You gotta tell us, lay it out.
That's a very, very difficult question.
Yeah.
You see, the way things are right now, ni election of Botala, just like Dabaya Fanyameng, there will be a lot of changes in the political landscape in the country. In the sense that, for example, if UDP win the election, that would greatly help UDP consolidate and probably keep power for a long time to come. But how would that affect these other political parties? It will negatively affect NPP a great deal, because many of the members, originally come from there, and then they will some of them will easily migrate back. Where I disagree with Daba is like there are some of the smaller parties that he think will probably die, but some of them have what I call survival memory. Parties like PPP, NCP, they may not have a large following today, but they've been on the scene for a long time, and they've been through a lot.
Okay.
With Jammeh, and they still survived. Remember, they were in fact banned in that country for a long period of time. But once the ban came off, they just bounced back to life. And so even after these elections, if Barrow win, I could see these two, if Barrow win, for example, because these two parties are both aligned with Barrow, or three, NRP, PPP, and NCP. I could see that as a kind of like a lifeline for them that could make survival even more easier for them. But if Barrow win, I think the biggest loser in that country probably will be UDP.
Okay.
In the sense that not only because Barrow winter I can lose it, but Barrow winter, and then Dabo is retiring. Not only Dabo, but UDP, the current executive leadership, like the people who started with Dabo. Many of them need I'm done with politics now, because they're old. So if that batch step aside, the whole batch, like the Kemes and Jammehs and the Amadou Sanes, if that batch stand aside and then they give up active politics, then you will have competing camps within the UDP. I don't know where that will lead the party to eventually, but I think it may impact it very negatively.
Mama Kande do?
Mama Kande will find a way to survive, although Abe diminished greatly. Especially if Adama is the winner. Because for Mama and Adama, there is some kind of rivalry that I cannot put my finger on, but I know it's there. So if Adama win, although I support between, because even right now he's losing a lot of support in some areas. APR still joined on him, that helped him a little bit. But after the election, I could see his support base dwindle a great deal. But I think he can manage to survive for a little bit longer as a political party in a very diminished form, though. PDOIs, I think I agree with Daba completely. Halifa step aside, that will change the thing. I don't know what they will change it to, but I think they still can survive. But they're different. For me, they're different than any other political party in the country. Sometimes when I look at it, it's PDOIs and the others. In the sense that all the other political parties in terms of ideology and outlook of, on political matters, very similar. PDY is on the other end of the spectrum. For the independent candidates, I think I don't see any of them
coming back. Because Fadia the phone's raceless. So let's go to Fadia. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my take on that.
Fadia, everybody's faked. But specific mbafole mbenyininkala. Ite amara ablai jamme. Min nata tenting, we don't know him much. Ani esafal. Ite ofana loud to everybody else.
Habari ablay jamme mu nyim bari netidi iton mu ablay jamme dimma wala be futuri Ousainou Darboe dimma. So that is a family right there. That is another UDP in a shadow. So before the election, maybe they can get married. But what a tambila, because that is only about Ntola Badi Budrong Abewolto Central. So that is not counted. Esafal
Nibat may understand. Nko Ablai Ibrahim Ajalo NUP. It I Jamala Fututa Jamale. What is it? Jamela.
Yes.
Abdul Hanide. Patila Babu. NUP.
It's one more independent. That's what I'm saying. You just cite of independent candidate, then after you come and match with the other person. Because you are asking for their survival, isn't it?
Yes.
That one is coming to UDP.
Okay.
But this is what I'm foreseeing. So SFL, you want the honesty, right?
Yes.
He's an opportunist. Opportunist because nga doko le dia la pura e doko for the whole country. Atetata wo doko hijack to look for himself. So I don't think that is right. And the woko mambam follow because the report is not yet tendered to the president put I decide. So all of a sudden I don't political new corner. That is very unfair. UDP analyze Nyaming and in Doi, this is exactly definitely analyze Wole Nyamako. The unified factor is lawyer Ousainou Darboe. And no knew all these people, they are miracle after this. I mean, they're gonna retire from politics. That is the right thing to do, obviously. And no power struggle is gonna be within their party, come abe ntola party kono nyamena, and it's gonna be even worse for UDP. Mbe turo banale, that is our campaign slogan, and we are gonna wipe them off. So Mama Kande don't have nothing. Atefaola MP ol bota kotole. The only chairman I mentioned in Makati area, it was from Botakotole. So Atenala Dimbaya Damale Tutawoto. And this APRC fraction menketa tenti komi Dibaya for Nyami, wale Marco from San for a little wing soto. But APRC is coming back with full force. And then the APRC Geleko, we're gonna come back. And then MPP Fanaya analyze Nyami is a combination of a lot of parties. But I don't know what's going to be their agenda after this election because until we are not staying there for long, it's just a coalition for a reason. So Nin coalition or Botaje, we're gonna stand because as a member of parliament for parliamentary election, we are going to put our own candidates. This is exactly what we are. We are just doing this because until na master mantarajang, we make a decision. I had a lot of low blows from the other side. Can tell blow, but in the month for Sakoite Mr. Barrow, anu ite fana Mr. Dabakh. Yem bumbero la janne but in tete dankola wolto. But
why you mean Kela?
Imam Akafu me yalon ko ka mokilin de male la moy la patio kono yalo wo garu wale.
But that is not only APRC. That is basically all political parties in Gambia, majority of them.
Garu wale lembari Wale is true. It is true that we have to deviate from that mentality. Kafoko nimmo political party or form. Everybody has to go around the person. I fem for drone. We don't have to brainstorm. We all have to. Why should we do that? Until we are not going to do that, we are not going to accept that, and we have shown that to the Gambian people. Kafoko ninam siloti. It is a party or law knowledge, but you have to make that party for the Gambian people, and everybody is concerned. More nyanta fanang aim sotara ni more after kela president komi baro ya fanyam. You have to have the opportunity to become one, but in more formal bukana ka contest. It can be APRC or UDP or anywhere. You know, Mama can the mom book some contest in the political party. But Ajube, lawyer in UDP, now but I get drunk, you see the people gonna come and start fighting. You know, the interest is there, but there is no level playing field. They don't empower the youth, and Nufana Ibuka Lafi Purmoli compete.
Okay.
And this has changed. I'm glad that all of us, we all have this in our minds. Kafuko, this is not right. Her political party or member survive. I think UDP, if they do their work right, even though Tolman Lafayette survive, but maybe they're gonna munum a little bit. But until APRC gonna stand with a full force, and I think the next government will be formed by APRC. But people be very careful.
Politician role. Ndolo wabala APRC fatale. APRC will come full force.
I was waiting for them to say that, but they didn't say that. Thank God. PDOIS is the ideology party, and Dibaya Fanyamena is outstanding, and it all the philosophy, and the idea. I can see that code. That is the best of all ideas. I am saying this, even though Mantara Jembenje, but near Jube in the West. The best living standard countries, they always come from socialist countries. And because they guarantee education, they guarantee health service, and they guarantee accommodation and food. So this is very important in every human life. And the socialist system you will encourage. They are this Nitata to the university level now, to the school system, which is going to be the future of the country. Near Soviet, you can see that a lot of them like PDOIS better than other political parties. That will show you that they are looking up to that.
So SFL is not going to stay. For he will stay.
His opportunist at Menke is very wrong. It's very wrong. I could also he didn't invest it in the Gambia. Until Gambia government education or Joe, he went out to get education for free and come back. I could also Atata Senegal Muslim Ataka Gambia or everybody is hiring other technicians to work. At a cabinet I left Musola farm and other sources to find for Gambia Muslim Mantaraje. He is just yes, but what I'm saying is when he said that mechanic. No, we are talking about Yalo Iko honestly. That is why I
but it's all a business of Barala Muso so we cannot bring that.
Nico mechanic is from foreign countries, teachers from foreign countries. Inyanta from foreign countries. You know, because that is very wrong for Iowa for because Atefana Gambia to Janne, Ayala Kodo Bondi Janne, Atata to invest in foreign country. He didn't invest in Gambia. Since people may struggle, even 2016, I can give credit to other people that are challenging the government into issues. But Atebe Dairin the for sign Anata, then we pay him all this money. He didn't do it for free. He worth how much? Over $200 million. Hani be among honey lopitan killing atako prastamono lebentola hospital. Ate afonye when did he brought a free medication and given to our people? And no atela education is being paid by Gambian people. Yeah.
Binto yeah. Left after Janibita Mr. Barrow. I have a quick question for Brother Fadia. Because actually in skip but I was gonna mention APRC. Concerning about your question, but you
quite fatally.
But Fadia Lapatio will bounce back with full force.
Hold on, Sarjo Bula, Sarjo. Oh, Dibba, go ahead. Dibba, go ahead.
Yeah, Fadia Kolapati will bounce back with full force, which I it gets me scratching my head a little bit. Because when I look at your party, I didn't see that kind of picture. I don't know. Maybe you can help us.
Fadia Matuka diba wanyar NCP la nyang kuma niole bele buka fa. Buka fa.
Exactly. Well, the more bukan diba Dabakh, Malick here.
Sarjo, come on.
Yeah.
Sarjo, ite abre jamala be fala, jamala be survive. Like, this is it. This is it. Colette, hold on.
Mukala to get into this, and then my thinking is Patita Fala Gambia. Ninko Fala meaning from a legal sense, and then they will all continue to exist. Because Ntengamera Gambia Benyameng, Gambia Mayana Tambela Party Fulala Osaba at most. You understand? You read every party la manifestos, la programs and policies, they are almost entirely 70% Ibe Mirota. It's like a carbon copy, literally, from Justice Economic and Policies. The only distinction on Gambia, PDOIs actually have a thing called pure socialist economic system. Sometimes infused with coming near during the Cold War 70s, Soviets, the way state decentralized things and then have a central control over things. Economic policies in cooperative union. So most of the other parties, they all have a capitalist idea, with some of them twisting it like coming with a capitalist socialist economy in terms of having a capitalist economy, but still state intervention in other areas. They would run social programs to the less fortunate and less privileged. So what I expect in Gambia, if those are the two major dichotomies in terms of economic policies, foreign policies, they all think the same. When it comes to agriculture, military, everything is the same. So I think the issue is individual leaderships. In as much as over Gambia, you cannot make the requirement, the party will continue to exist. People are not forming party to change other people's life or what they are adding to, but it's about me. So what I expect in every party is to have divergent views, and then when it comes to major policies, coming from a bottom line, then you will agree on that. So I don't think any party will die in Gambia. What I do agree with the co-panelists, there is no party presently, in my opinion, in Gambia that has a pure succession plan. Because there is no succession plan in any party in Gambia. After 2021 election, whomever loses, you would have to go through internal restructuring, internal, issues. How you bounce back, whether Ibela Fenko you maintain the equilibrium you have before that Fenko rifting, that's what is, yet to be seen. And then a classic example is when Barrow split with UDP. They went through a lot of rift, lose some bases, pick some bases, but at least they survived. So I don't think Parti Befala Gambia per se. The only question is, how relevant would they be? If you party to one man, you're still a party, but the power dynamic is what's going to change. But there are few parties in Gambia, Melia Lonko, well, supporters, they are so loyal, in as much as they would have disintegration, but they kind of cling to the idea of they see the party at all. So it wouldn't be difficult for William Metamorphose to leave that party. That's how I see it.
Okay. So few callers all tala. Caller so I'll say call Canada. Hello, caller.
Hello, Bintu.
Todi madam.
Idrissa Gassama. Ndera panelist on the country.
Bismillah. Ibirimintina.
Pa barka konton dino ko because bi nga mole fanantara ji ni alo. Ko to malem pa mata ni wala lang time. Afike to fata be ni nalam na. Life la. Ko to Gibril be konton na.
Abaraka bakeo.
Idrissa Gassama mahat le faji kunda.
Allahu Akbar. Talindi.
Akata famu. But Bintu la ko ma dang tan ne ko rek.
Ko to ke ko to dale sa bu ko mo jama suute.
Ya na nane afa nane Mustafa Diam daw ba fly nan demu jumal.
Aye suute la. Bismillah.
La ko ma dan ne ko la. Bintu always minto nanda wula jang ke la moyle proud ke la divergent views le kana, and then molka accept le yalon duo ko be buka accept no bari utonya nyaada buka accept anim balo but sonno mo ka last example me political party on the fall, I don't want to dive into that for now. because I don't think the last panelist member, the Mina, I'm not so the political party that die. Labor for the loose level strength, you can accept, but the kafawo more jiki. Because I am Tonya political party of one and the kafa, Kotomala political party and the kafa. APR. Or Abamfa. Abamfa. Mbafula loko ha balanal bije bare mamfa and you structure so maybe you structure ke nyaade nyamo another topic but mame amo yafa the look like center especially in baroni into labanko kata nyamen sa la fa diam lawol if they can allow me
please ya tariyande domande pour se kola do
sa mata and la fa particular in la fa tala mole man la fa na political la side la fa tala mole ka dare wala nena federal government la ki lintol kon kelta pour nga indi nga démocratie le soto na banko kam ntola court government manyan na contempt use law ntola court system e function for ya kuntu government nyanda ke donc wala lintol ko nga démocratie men kele ngole soto manta political al nga de bonni ni kudo ndira dani rola wot nene federal government nte malo nana maji malo moko no malo suta to malo tilde bare ngala ko folole fu puta to bulalte mi an ko sign you convince tala ko 125% or 1 million% ko government is using advantages on this lady and our company and ntul bi ni federal government lota se ta kala pour ala ko so man nene makoy nga gambia dingol le makoy pour soma man sakunda kana advantage o ta do kan any man sakunda momo mina soma o momo bije biu o kana advantage o ta moka la fita ko ila pala ni sol mem bede ndol be al nga ken na hajoti na nene makoy ala ko muta ay yela company muta anna ta government mina sila do logis la men be legal system e ba ta le bu ya tay bu karol man kuno
okay
but in this case ni dane alin kila alin kelem be ne lo nene ke na adon menu gambia mbelo la nene ke fo mo le an ko lo ta but no
okay thank you Gassama because nene la case ala individual case nga sympathize le and the thing is market topic of discussion ti ntama launching case la kwe and mbukala fika fen discourse platform or to mallo kumiye to stand with somebody in solidarity what kala nye problem ti but ma aku discourse jam nte ma aku jama long and I haven't na panelist all for the market topic to be kodi so sila ko ten
thank you very much
thank you
wala nan ko ngi divert la rek sa ibe yam fala manen divert bari na la moy la ci endi no starting for now andu ngela mol be respect le na dani roller le ni le ku yata ko
no
wala
problem.
Ngana.
Yeah, no problem. Kala feel like a focus on particular topics. Isaje ko nkana media lam. Ni be da lele be fango fen fola ma fa be perfect la but isa make sure it come info. Imang mistake. Yes, thank you. Abaraka ya.
I agree.
All right.
Ko tombe konton.
Thank you. Aya baraka. Yalo nka wiyo. Okay, Gassama. Hello, caller.
Hello? Binto.
Ila koma be noisy rinede. Uncle Vickland. Uncle Vick, you are welcome.
Okay, thank you. Ndela pano me kontena. Let me do it just quick as start. Let a question in kala na chairman Gibril Fadia.
Okay.
Gibril, ada mabare sendenya di soto ani right ka GDC head creating ka kai ko amal la siya jamme quality ala radio. This is my question.
Okay, thank you. Gibril Beijing Kanna.
I right.
Okay. Ako. Ako but hold on. Samate hold on. Gibril, ako abe nyinin kala President Barrow e comment leke ka foko Mama Kande manyana jame alawla ay diamu fenkot ala lalit. In fact, amanke na topic ti but Nisa answer no very quick. We can pick up from there.
Yalong mol dalta menna nin kuoketa, that's how they judge it. Because nim tolbe nga nyonyinka is that during ARC time, Jamela time is this kind of environment, is it possible pour moyake during the time of the last 22 years? So mbebe sonnaleko no. So that is why what people get used to niakara aketa iba folako, this is not what we used to see. So but in is outside Gambian government or Gambian politics. And Tolbe who are exposed to the West, Tolba folako, yes, this is nothing, this is good. But Ning Woketa Nuya Jamela Time, we are not going to be here talking about Iba Muta Mando from ala family from Iba Mutalale, because that is the truth.
Okay. All right, caller. Caller, background or telephone somewhere. Hello. Ila volume or tala koma je then do not Tony Mado. Okay. Samantha, go ahead. Hassan came well.
Hello?
Samantha, come well.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Okay, please.
All right. Come program on Yalombe. I'm giving an advice to every Gambian. There was this debate yesterday, all the presidential aspirants, they were all invited to the platform. First and foremost, they need to respect Gambians. They need to come and sell their agenda to us. But because one media to it was not scheduled at the right time because they were on political campaign. Even this political debate is a political campaign. You are selling the idea to the people. Understand? So one time what the people are saying is because then that means they are not encouraging debates here because anytime debates will happen in this country, you leave your campaign period, you come and discuss with Gambians. Gambians, we all believe PDY's ideology and is different from other parties. But as other panelists, Fadia and others, let us not be selfish. Sorry for using that word. Let us not be selfish and look at the right candidates. Because being alone the call, many being panelists will be alone the comment. PDYs have the right policy. They believe that with their policies, Gambia can move from step 1 to step 2.
Okay.
But still, we are pushing our leaders. The ideology has been in place since our independence, 1965. We have been running the country in capitalist format. The leadership is not the problem, but the system is the problem. Jawara is a hard guy. He didn't have the law for the country. No one will say that Yajambe didn't have the law for the country. And the same thing, Barrow, you cannot say it. But the system in place doesn't favor our country right now.
Okay.
Capitalism is for those developed countries, not underdeveloped countries. So my advice is, why is it that we have 3 political parties? If 2 political parties they all believe in capitalist style of leadership, why is it that the 2 didn't join together? Okay. I think Gambian we need to learn from the society, the environment. What do then we should know that then they are there for their personal interest. So as a Gambian is someone who is not going for personal interest but national interest. PDI since 1986, they believe in socialism. parties come and parties die. But it will believe that socialism, they didn't live there with. Since 1986, other party will be existing before them, and they also NCP and UPPP, they all believe in capitalism. Why is it they don't join together?
Okay.
UDP and NPP, they believe in capitalism. Why is it that they don't join together? GDC and UDP, they all believe in the same thing. So if there is no selfish interest in them, then automatically they should put countries first. I don't know, my friends, you believe first, we go together. But we, until the Gambia put at this rate.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good question. And another caller, Tala. Hello, caller.
Hello, Binto.
Todi Madum, for the records.
Usman Boja.
Na Boja Mba, Ibirimintina.
Yo, program Odiata.
Wato Nimboja wala ka edubulodo. Ani with crutch. Saje with crutch
do. Ani keke munko.
Ani keke munko. Ndoka tufunkula ani munkunde. Foyete tola munkundi ma. Okay, bismillah.
Mira panel sor kontalla dita de alhamdulillah. A friendly link. When I give to that extent, the more put through. I mean, it's very lively. We enjoy it a lot.
Thank you.
And Lansa Kumasa followed like debate you mean for the one of your panelists and with him like Khalifa I mean for healthcare system or as a care node. In the way every village a representative sort of, but this will depend on how much will the government invest on that staff will be there. He or she should be given more allowances or salaries than other nurses to encourage others to allow and go on postings up countries, remote places. But you can't post somebody there the same salary, the same allowances. It's not possible. It will help the community accessing the health facilities as people in the greater Banjul or West Coast region. This will be very fair to the citizens because our health facilities, I mean, but and the Baba Bake are the people living in the provinces. I mean, it depends on how much the government will be ready to invest to provide such. It can be, it's possible.
Okay. All right.
And this second, election and after election, maybe happen.
Good question.
To my own view and observation, ngaje ko patire jama bitala de. Competition of the particular tema mbenga wolo ne bari ngaje ko NPP is winning because they have more priorities than UDP. One, incumbent. Two, more connections. Three, more access. So, I'm going to UDP are win. And in that winter, UDP will follow. Because one, me Africa, me Batandi, anyone leading, as somebody efficient and capable to rule, Mbuka any other second or ABC class sort of plan sort of orders come in. I mean, a feeling, I can look ahead the feeling, and you also will be and will have think la party jama kono abe party jama pala. But there are more chances for the small parties. Ni atarako selfishness and other stuffs the bolaji. Why? Ye la government can ye push to governors to any other sectors. Ye found and prepare to work for different communities, different environments. We too have the abilities of the people to win people's heart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years or 10 years even. Back to politics. moli non ne moli la ability lonne but Africa mani ne so nga wulda don pagat ko eta fal madum politique ko kono if a correct agenda sotono if a correct plan sotono but what you have is or whatever popular talent, it doesn't take anyone anywhere. We have to start this from scratch by joining the government. Government like a sitting president Banco be the time. Everybody have right to participate. But Gambia is hard that lack any ideas if and then government man the sitting president all the great talented and it's not him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Obama only has started with
yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Now with Kiraj brother, Mbabula, this is our last call. I'm the caller Solimbala for Danila for another weekend. Betara Jan Saturday and Sunday. Nka topical kachamini along ko loku tele and dunka mole sambanang. Mini along ko kachaka jami along kachaka ja. Ni ka kachaka ja ke la London ni la mirolu sambanan jang nka ka hormone mbunyalati nga mobe appreciate min be nata yen join min ben jibe kan yen join min ben share kan min ben follow kan ben subscribe ka YouTube kola solbe mbe last word di la gesola so meta I time tap but it's very educative nga appreciate Dibba. Yeah. The baby mute. Okay. Yeah. Dibba, yo, call us all pareta sign, but left last word di purun se Sony end mbetarajan Saturday koteke and then Sunday. Yeah, ala news ya.
Abaraka bake binto. Ngetantu ngeje bake effort nyinto. Because banko bukata no kachakom. Nako panelisol farang. Brother Fadia, Brother Malick, and then Brother Sarjo. I'm content to be back in Albanian platform together. This is my first time joining you guys. And Kachalu, I found them to be very fruitful. Banko ni tainala, banko dingol ni site kachada. Men fanan kadla moy, you know, nsinyoso hakilola, hakili kilenta hakildi. Mbeden ta fango menna nimmanshi nga hakilimaya mbatinyala. So this is very, very important. I'm content to be back, to be part of it. Thank you so much.
Mbemurundelanan, ntoluo bijana wrong. Again, ntolu bijana. Hani this December 15 Fadia wala pati mante. Ita mu fe onkole nyankumani ole bele ebe survive. Ebe survive nyam MCP. Aga ebe survive la. So
yeah, we gonna survive it.
Fadia fana be atrai kana puri survive. So we will see. Fadia duntumala ni ole sotoma. We will see.
Fadia call me. I'll give you the secret.
That was my political party.
Oh, okay. Daba, you can say bye. You Gambia alla connection alla if I'm ndanga mrebe sirim pura kote jele la kalero koto.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, you know, I'm content about it. You know, Cameroon be kana kachake about Gambia. Because coming for wrong, we may have a different view of how we should take the country. But everybody has good intentions for Gambia. Even though Nigeria is sefata nole, but ngani obe muminti wala muka banko dada banko miyalam ko Gambia dingo dimbeje wala na lal fawani na daje. Iba lon ko me kordale ko. And we cannot have that in the absence of peace. So mingina kumayata wala mu election obe na la betambela. But janning election obe na la ay badi yala taraje, ay sinyo yala taraje ani family. So political manyana wo tinyala. We have the right to support each candidate or any political party that we think has the best agenda to transform that country. But obe janta kala respect ole kan ani nyoya because political mu nyoya because nimman kacha drong andu kacha kono fana nimbe kacha la fonsa nyola moy You know, we allow people to exhaust what they want to say. If I have a different view of how the individual sees it, okay, I think at the end of the day, there is no loser because election on another loser TJ. Because at the end of the day, Gambia will win. And not do I get wrong, election on you and I you know, anybody who wins, being a below you know, we work together and for the next 5 years, Purkawo Mari support. Important. But anything for Langam for Jamialanko. And it's no man wana do ya fanje ko ngatela madrong me hako bwendla, you know, it was never my intention, but namiral nya maybe aketa wala, and that's how I see things. And for me, that's how I say things because ntanga ko je nyami nka fole nyawa even in need benta battling for if I don't see the same way you see things, I tell you straight away this is how I see. And God gave us the mind to be independent and think for ourselves and do what we think is better for us. So until next Saturday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, he's my partner in crime on Saturday. So Saturday Nabinala. Brother Fadia, Janibita, go ahead.
Yo, ala baraka bake, Mr. Dibba coming out for Nyamen, Mr. NCP, Allah Patio, Farmer Lealo. So that is very good to have you here. Dabakh Malick. Atele Mori Bati Dabakh. I learned a lot today. Sarjo Fana. You know, I've seen people here who are very, very knowledgeable. And then Barry Mbeme emphasized that is the security of the country. Election on Ata, election on Kono Kaira. And Amanjana Jarla for any Gambian to die for anybody. Nim president on Tolka Menbe Noma to support them. We don't have to fight. Ntol Manjana Nina Signol ye Kuntunyola, Nimbani Wali Kuntunyola. And the Itolka Tale, they don't pay any bills. You know, ni tata ike fama nyola kordale lo, you know, yela function kordalo, they make their lives. Nite batata wala ye kilo ke itata lopitano to, ibuketa raje ye jube. You know, ni fata fana ibuketa ila badi kordlato. So therefore we have to be very wise. Kaji control the kanyim president will make who they are. But in return, it all manyan nara kafoko, they're gonna stand against us. We are the power, we are the people. Ntolle kanna karte ta ka dila. Itol man karte ta ka din tolla. So if we help them, so we shouldn't be fighting each other. You know, UDPO, NCPO, GPPO, APRCO, it doesn't matter. Ntolla leaders will be ntolle ke fanti. So therefore, ntol manyan na mold sambalange ke alala palasoto, you know, to worship them. Yeah, fonye ngatanga na neighborhood attack. Wala nga nimmo dole fight nga son wala manyan na son na wala. So we have to sensitize our people. Kaji control la carte wala la poverty. And Gambia belongs to all of us. It all they have opportunity to be president. We are all equal citizens as them. Iwuluta banko kono nyame, ye nyanto soto banko nyame, ntol fana yo nyamto le soto. But we give up all this, we give it to them to make our life better. Ni atara itol man na life make better. We have to stand up against them and talk to them and kaitandi lako we are more important than all of them. So until after the mobe nyinko understand there should be no violence in election. Iteka kelemembe ateka tale to eat for free out of your own money. Munati naibe sonna wala. Anybody kneel after a file momo, you go to your ballot box, you drop the box to whomever you want. Ila voters card, yeah, drop where you go home and sit and wait for the results. Ni momo ganyeta na finti na nabe celebration o kela atele ganyeta ite man ganye. Why would you have to pick up a cutlass? Why would you have to insult somebody's tribe? Why you have to talk about somebody else's region? Huh? Jumai ate president he's over there iba jola for free abe kodo sotala abe moto sotala aman anene mammen sotala abe wole sotala. Then after ate na on top of all that you fighting for him for what? You have to fight for your country. You don't have to fight for any individual. So after I emphasize, because I really mean what I said. I'm very passionate when I said this. To that level, to put another person in place of God. Amanke lawyer Daboti, amanke ya jamete, amanke President Baroti, every one of them are the same citizen, just like in Tolfana Benyonya. Alaye Tambindin Tole Karte Fai, they become a president, but they are not better than us. So Momo Manyan Sonna inilam neighbors your sonka, ini badi wali kuntu, it didn't worth it. It's just on the election. Ibe Makolale Puri Tole Baraka, and that's the bottom line. I know I talk too harsh about this, but
that's it. We want it. We need that. At this moment, this is what we need. Dibba Kodi, this is what we need.
Definitely.
This is what we need. We need this. Yeah, this is we really need
it's
this.
Important. It's important, and I think also it begins from it. You know, whatever happens on the 5th when the final results is issued, I think it has more to do with how the politicians, especially the candidates, react to the results.
They better react better.
Yeah, and the reality is, Gambians elections are in a way that, like, even though I've never supported APRC, I've never voted for Jammeh, but I've always believed he has been winning. You know, he has been winning. Gambian elections are very, very difficult for anyone to cheat. You know. And especially with the on-the-spot counting right now, whatever results is given there is 98 to 99% accurate. So people should just take it that way. Like, if the majority or whatever way that people vote, I think it's important that, you know, people who contest the elections have the sportsmanship to come out and acknowledge defeat and congratulate the winner. Because the winner, because the more they hold on, the more people get agitated and the more confusion comes in. Because every candidate has a polling agent in every polling booth. So even before the final results is given out, the candidate knows how much they got. So if they lose, they know. So I think as we grow our democracy, it's important also we mature to the point that people can call the winner and congratulate them and accept defeat. And I think that is going to help a lot in calming the tension after. But also those who win, they are free to celebrate, but don't go and provoke others who lose. You know, celebrate peacefully and in a very much dignified way. At the end of the day, we can all come together, celebrate, and, you know, we move forward. You know, and I think that is going to happen.
Yeah, Dibba.
I think that's one reason, especially Fadia Kumfa Damento. Maya Kentingameranko. It was a missed opportunity. Man candidate based on stage yesterday, debating, because that would have been a very powerful symbol for the average supporters out there. It was a candidate support kan and men benyo sabaka even stake ideas will exchange. After that, they embrace each other. Like Khalifa Ning Fankaya Kenyame. At the end of the debate, they embrace each other. Can you imagine the symbolism of that?
I was so excited.
You know, that would send a very powerful message to an average person out there. Look, these are the people you guys are fighting for them to be in that place. But look at how they're embracing each other. They're not fighting. They're talking to each other. You know, but hopefully next time we will have them all.
Allah baraka. But next weekend, Nimbulo Mansiala, Nimbulo Sita Momola, I'll be here with Dabakh. These are the messages I will need everybody to speak. Peaceful. That will be our topic next weekend. Peaceful elections. Yes. Well, the next topic, inshallah. Wow, thank you.
Thank you. Until next weekend.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
All right.
Sarjo, bye. Sarjo, bye. Okay. Allah baraka. We appreciate them. Please. Alin follow, alin subscribe, don't look at our continent. And we have to see certain things in our electoral laws, our debate, the constitution of the Banco, what we do, we need important topics for us. Yes. So, Ibinala all the time, Ning Ale near Dinda, Kaselen Kaji Kairakon, and out on a month. Ibinala Janne, and do not follow the Palaso di Mo. Alanga Cairo. Alanga Nyokan. Alanga Nyokan. ini along ko win al celebrate alkana moton because nita da momo no maya nita min kata yala ka tare lo bare min tare ma wala so don't do that so mbal tentu mbal jayida alumanyon soto okay Sarjo, thank you ngakachadi ma bale kejam. Thank you brother Sarjo. Alama ale ndijo Lamin Dibba alama ale ndijo Sarjo Fadia ala baraka Dabakh ya saito mun talent so you are my partner in crime Saturday night tarajan kola solbe bal tentula mbal jer man kol solbe kano because na top policy and bi al say am fay dara ñing sibiti nala na fay keñu la belay no yele la ala baraka gambia dum be textina ala baraka thank you all kalma ñon soto and subscribe the lobby janet ni ale ya kenya kay la baraka I can join every weekend ni electional mantantinala sibito bare do the program do the but Saturday Sunday okay we will be always here national discussion
banda badi kana jange banda badi drogo menje kana janka la banda badi kana janka la banda badi Gambia seneyata de o Gambia seneyata kana janka banda badi Ginin keba oi muslim kela lundan duringo kana janka banda badi